Confirm whether the subject is male, female, confirm that it's a transgender person.
So what I can say right now that we have identified the person, the suspect, by a birth name. The birth name was Robert Dorgan. We have also learned that the person does go by the name of Roberta. Also uses a last name of Esposito. But again, that will be all confirmed throughout the course of the investigation as to their status. That really doesn't have anything to do with the investigation.
Come on, man.
Definitely worth checking into.
In this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. Broadcasting from a Montana wilderness fortress at the headwaters of the Missouri, this is Matt Christiansen Live.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is Matt Christiansen Live, a proud duct tape production for Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. Thank you for tuning in. Sitting shotgun tonight. Robert is back from a short time away. ICE is hunting him, but they have not found him yet. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Skulldugger is here as well. He has enough hair for the three of us, luckily. Welcome back to you, too.
Saddle up, partner.
Ahoy.
Anyway, for discussion tonight, the gay war is upon us. A new week, a new gun person shooting. This time, I don't even know if he was recently. I think this guy transgendered himself, 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe. But a father who was presenting as a woman shoots up his ex-wife and his kid dead at a hockey game in Rhode Island. We'll get into that. High school students in California are under investigation for arranging their T-shirts to spell out the word faggots. You can't form human swastikas if you lay down on the ground in the wrong shape. You can't arrange T-shirts to spell the word faggots either. This reminds me of, I don't know if you guys saw this, but this event in California at least, but I assume you're familiar when you see someone tweet an N on X, just the letter N, and someone replies I, and someone replies G. This is basically what these kids did in real life with their T-shirts, and now it's a matter for investigation at their school, and to some degree, a national news story, certainly a regional news story. It actually led the news on Tuesday night in Fresno that these kids had arranged their T-shirts to spell the word faggots. So we'll get into that. I have an update in the saga of my cursed streaming PC as well. It went to the manufacturer in Texas for a warranty claim, since it's brand new, of course, or purchased in September. And the manufacturer is now scamming a denial of the claim. So we'll get into that in a little bit before we take, of course, calls, voicemails, and emails as well. If you'd like to call the show live, you can do that through the Discord server, linked in the description. There are instructions and help available for you on the server. If you'd like to leave a voicemail, I'm probably full on voicemails tonight. I think I got 3 or 4 of them. But if you want to leave a voicemail, maybe I can get to it tonight or next week. We always try to have room for those. You can call the number in the next hour. It's in the description. You can leave a voicemail. And if we have some time, we'll respond to that tonight as well. Gotta say hello to our friendly listener-owned business for the evening before we get into it as well. That's our friends at Hero Soap Company. It is last call on the special Valentine's Day scents from Hero Soap Company. Get them while they last. Eucalyptus plus lilac is crisp and cool eucalyptus and delicate floral lilac. Your shower will feel like a spa day at home. Cypress plus teakwood is strong, exotic, and woodsy to command that special evening. Maybe not Valentine's Day because that's behind us, but your future special evenings, you will command them like a lumberjack returning from the forest. Remember, you can subscribe with Hero Soap Company and get soap sent straight to your door each month. You never have to remember soap at the store again. You get a high-quality, great-smelling, all-natural product. A portion of each purchase benefits military and first responder charities. Plus, you support the show as well with Hero Soap Company. as always, 10% off everything from our friends at Hero Soap Company using promo code MCListener. You can always find that information at mattchristiansenmedia.com/deals. Deals by listeners for listeners. Okay, I assume you guys saw the news of earlier this week in Rhode Island. Yeah, this is not breaking news to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So now, is it Pawtucket or Pawtucket? Are you guys New England area pronunciation experts?
I'm not. I've always thought it was Pawtucket.
Okay, Robert.
I mean, I can't pronounce most English words correctly, so
No
not
hablo
trust me.
inglés. Okay. I'm going to go with Pawtucket because I think that's how this police chief says it. But I thought, have I been wrong this whole time with Pawtucket? I'm not a New Englander, so I don't know. Pawtucket, Rhode Island, 56-year-old Robert Dorgan, who had transitioned into Roberta Esposito and or Roberta Dorgano, which sounds like a Star Wars name or something. He approached his wife and his son and some more members of his family and friends of the family. They were all sitting together at this high school hockey game in which one of his sons was playing. According to witnesses in video, Dorgan opened fire on 4 of his family members and a family friend who were seated in the stands. As many as 11 shots fired quickly. There is video of it. I can't really show it because it's really pushing what YouTube will allow. But the video is out there. Then he was grabbed by a Good Samaritan who actually got his hand stuck in the chamber. So if I'm understanding this correctly, the guy, Roberta here, is just unloading. If you watch the video, he's kind of like top down on his ex-wife and his son and sort of shooting down toward the ground. This guy grabs him, and it sounds like the guy's finger actually went into the slide or the chamber of the gun, prevented the slide from pushing forward and stopped the gun from firing that way. And he had the guy restrained, and the guy has another gun and pulls it out and shoots himself dead. So you have the wife, the ex-wife of Roberta, dead, killed by him. You have his son Aiden, dead, killed by him. And you have the shooter himself, dead by suicide. There were also 3 others shot or otherwise injured. Rhonda's parents, his ex-wife's parents, and a family friend as well. And as I mentioned, this guy had been in the process of this transition for several years. If you look into the divorce papers of the couple, they divorced. So his ex-wife, he just shot dead before shooting himself. The divorce was finalized in June 2021, but his ex-wife, Rhonda, cited in the divorce papers, gender reassignment surgery, narcissistic and personality disorder traits. So the transgenderism, as one would imagine, had been a source of conflict in this relationship. Actually, according to this same news coverage, it was a source of conflict with Rhonda's father. So his father-in-law or ex-father-in-law, he was arrested a few years ago for threatening to have him, as in Robert or Roberta, threatening to have him murdered by an Asian street gang for not moving out of the house, telling him no goddamn tranny is going to stay here.
Jeez.
So the two were divorced in 2021. The transgenderism had been a source of conflict. And this guy had been going through the gender transition for some time. There's one of the strangest things about this case, and I want to get your opinion on this, is that the guy's, Roberta's X account is still up, hasn't been taken down. You can look at his history of tweets. He was fairly active in that regard on X. Here's a tweet of his from 2018. My wife says she hates the person who stole her husband. Now that implicitly means he himself stealing the husband and converting the husband into a wife. There's also this 2019 tweet where he was responding to someone else saying, I'm a trans woman. I have 6 kids, and the 6 kids and the wife are not thrilled. So this apparently had been a source of conflict for some time. Now we had Rhonda, the ex-wife, saying that he had gone through some sort of gender reassignment surgery. I don't have the specifics on what exactly he had done, but in the photos, he does appear to have some very nice implants.
Look at those massive jugs.
That's a nice motorcycle too.
Would that one get you to the Arctic Ocean, Robert?
I mean, if I have to, I would hold on to that guy, behind him on the motorcycle.
Is it actually a nice bike? I don't know. I mean, you would know.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. I mean, solid taste.
All right. And the rack, do you want to comment on that or just leave that alone?
You know
who this reminds me of? You guys remember that Canadian teacher a few years ago? It was Toronto.
Oh, yeah.
Kayla Lemieux, I think this person's name was. Not quite as exaggerated as Kayla, but very similar. Roberta's, I think, are hanging up more nicely than Kayla's. Kayla's are approaching the knees these days. But before we get into the full extent of the transgenderism here, it is important to emphasize this shooting was stopped by a Good Samaritan who risked his own life to intervene. This is the Pawtucket, not Pawtucket, but Pawtucket Police Chief Tina Gonzalez. This is another name I can't say, or another thing I can't say. What is her name? It looks like Gonzalez, but it's not. Do you guys know how to say this name? Gonzalez? Gonzalez? Is that how you say that one? Robert knows this one for sure.
Let me see. I'm trying to make sure that I can see it.
Gonc. I could zoom in a little bit more.
Oh yeah,
Gon. Where'd it go? Yeah, can you see that?
Yes, Goncalves.
Oh,
so
okay.
Are we going to do the bit on the news where for Hispanic names we switch to like full Spanish?
I send you the names I need recorded, and you can prepare that for me. So Tina Goncalves, is that okay? Let's go with that. This is Tina, the police chief in Pawtucket, who is saying, it was a Good Samaritan who stopped this guy.
We can also tell you that a Good Samaritan stepped in and interjected in this scene, and that's probably what led to a swift end of this tragic event.
Okay. And the guy's name is Michael Black, and he's 58? Yeah, he's 58. The Roberta, the transgender guy, is 56. And so Michael Black, as far as I gather, is unrelated to the family, their friends, their party. He was just there and he saw this guy committing a shooting, and he, as far as I gather, was unarmed. I assume it's probably not very easy to be armed in Rhode Island. I don't know what their gun laws are like, but that seems like a New England thing. Anyway, he doesn't approach him with a gun. He just kind of bear hugs the guy. Here he is describing exactly what happened.
Authorities investigating this video that appears to show the suspect, 56-year-old Robert Dorgan, wearing a white hat, pulling a gun, and moving through the crowd. Moments later, Michael Black is seen rushing in.
As the gun was extended and my wife went running, and as soon as she cleared my sight is when I stood up on the bleachers and I jumped towards the shooter.
Black telling us his finger became lodged in the gun's chamber, preventing it from firing again, but the suspect reached for a second firearm.
I saw panic on his face, and I'm looking at him and he's got the gun.
Dorgan then used that second gun to kill himself.
Their courage undoubtedly prevented further loss and injury, and we thank them for that.
Black and his wife were separated in the melee. She had some choice words for him when they were reunited.
It was a typical wife's response that, honey, I'm very proud of you for what you did, but I'm also pissed off at you. It was my wife's loving response. But it was a great hug.
I have a lot of thoughts about how that went down, but I invite yours if you guys have them.
I just really like the way that this was reported. There was no respect for pronouns. It was a bunch of he's and hims in there.
Yeah, yes and no, because there were a couple pieces of reporting like this, and I have another one from the Today Show that I thought was pretty good. And then there were other examples like you'd expect where we're doing the Canada bit where we're not going to use any pronouns. We're just going to call him the shooter.
Well, I noticed that the reporter, the anchor person, was avoiding using anything and saying like the suspect, was using a bunch of neutral language, and then finally let a he slip in there. So
yeah. And it made it past the editor, whoever's in charge over at Good Morning America. Yeah. But
Very
Robert,
courageous on the part of the guy who stopped it. I mean, really, that's really brave to do, to just jump into that situation right off the bat. And I mean, who knows what would have happened without it? Because if Robert showed up with 2 guns, I mean, he was set up to cause some damage. You know, he was probably meaning to take out a whole lot of people.
Anyone who intervenes with a shooter in that way, very honorable bravery, but a lot of luck in this case. And I don't mean to say, I'm not dismissing what that guy did. I hope I would do the same thing. It's a very honorable, brave thing to do. But this guy, presumably not armed himself, he's going in with his bare hands. And then, but to bear hug the shooter in the way that he did, for the finger to jam the gun, I assume he's reaching for the gun. That's how it happens. That is quite a piece of luck. But the other piece of luck, by this guy's description, and it's a little bit graphic, I don't, for sensitive ears, I'm sorry, but this guy's saying that the guy took out his second gun, shoved it in his mouth, and pulled the trigger while this guy has him, while he's trying to detain this dude. And so for a guy to basically blow his head off while you're trying to hold him down, and for you not to get hit, not to get injured, all of that, extremely lucky. Like, yeah. It's hard to say that a deadly shooting of several people is miraculous. Of course, it's not. It's a terrible event in that. It's a terrible event first and foremost. But in that way, the way that this guy intervening was successful at stopping it, it was very miraculous that way. And it's yet another case where we all have to think about, okay, what happens if I'm in that situation? What happens if I'm at the hockey game and some crazy person starts opening fire? And I don't know whether you live in a state where you have to bear hug the guy or not. You have to have a plan for that sort of thing. I hope that everybody doesn't have to plan to bear hug, because that relies on a lot of luck like this one did. But yeah, it might be an episode in the gay war like this one was. It might be a different kind of crazy. It might be anything. But the reality is these people can come in and unload 11 rounds in just a couple seconds if they want to. And you need to have a plan for what you're going to do if you're the guy sitting right behind that in the stands. And this guy did everything he could. I mean, yeah, well done. And man, what I just can't believe how he was spared the way that he was. It is really incredible in that way. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard of a finger getting jammed into the slide like that. Like,
the thing is, like, it sounds like the guy was just unloading. You watch the video and it looks like he is. It's just pop, pop, pop. So even the timing as that slide is bouncing, for your finger to get in there, it's not just the placement of it, it's the timing with the action of the gun that has to be just right for that to happen. Because
that chamber's only open typically long enough to eject the shell.
Yeah.
And then they eject the cartridge and then it's back to close. So he got his finger jammed in there right past a cartridge coming out. Like, if you tried to do that, it would be difficult.
Even just the luck of not getting his hand in front of the muzzle on that gun and getting like a finger blown off or something, you know, just incredible stuff. But we all have to have a plan for such an event, prepare accordingly. And if you're going with bear hug, I suggest you do lots of push-ups, Joe Biden style, make some good biceps moves in there as well. You need to be really strong to take out Roberta. And you need to have a big wingspan to reach around that giant rack too. So decide what's right for you and go with it. But I want to get back to Tina Goncalves. Tina, the police chief, has more to say. And the initial characterization here was that this was just a family dispute. And of course it was a family dispute. He went there to target his family. That's why he opened fire on his ex-wife and his son and the people who were seated with them. So it's not inaccurate to say it was a family dispute. But a couple of things that the police chief said here in combination with each other don't really make a lot of sense. So first of all, it's a family dispute. It was a targeted family argument. That's all.
I can identify that there was one lone suspect, that this was a targeted event. It looked like it was a family dispute, and there was one individual that was a family friend.
Okay, so it's a targeted attack on family members, and that, like I said, that's not inaccurate. But in combination with the response to this reporter's question, which is, hey, it appears that the shooter is transgender. Do we have confirmation on what gender this shooter was, how he presented himself? And the police chief responds saying that really has nothing to do with the investigation.
That's where the suspect. Can you confirm whether the suspect is a male, female? Confirm that it's a transgender person. Is that something that you have to determine?
So what I can say right now that we have identified the person, the suspect, by a birth name. The birth name was Robert Dorgan. We have also learned that the person does go by the name of Roberta, also uses a last name of Esposito. But again, that will be all confirmed throughout the course of the investigation as to their status. That really doesn't have anything to do with the investigation.
Okay, that's not true for the reasons that we just discussed. We know, based on a very quick look at the family history, that there was a lot of conflict in this family, indeed the separation of husband and wife, based on, at least in part, gender transition. So I know it's the politically correct thing to say, well, I mean, whether he presented as a woman or not, what does that really have to do with the fact that he shot his ex-wife? Well, it is part of the nature of their conflict. So it's not even accurate. Yeah. You're trying to sanitize this and say that it has nothing to do with gender identity. It's actually very closely related to, if not caused by, the gender identity issue. Well,
yeah, it seems like that was the front issue here. I mean, if his father-in-law is trying to have him, we'll just say put out over this issue. Like, I mean, this appears to be the number one issue involved in this family. So yes, it's a family dispute, but it's a family dispute over specifically his gender identity.
The thing I don't get about the dad and the Asian street gang to kill him is I don't have a photo of the ex-wife. I'm pretty sure she's white though. Like she didn't. I assume dad is like, hey, I have close connections with like the Chinese or the Japanese mafia or something. But I'm pretty sure she's white. I don't have a photo handy, but I don't understand where the Asian street gang thing comes in. But
maybe they're cheaper, you know, like, it's a market rate kind of thing.
You can't afford the Italians, but the Chinese, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Chinese are doing everything nowadays. They're even killing people.
So it's Temu gang violence. I don't even know. Right. How do you is it speaking of pronunciation, is it Temu? I don't know that either.
I go with Temu, but I've never been on that site, so I don't really know either.
Well, you are my pronunciation correspondent, so we're going with Temu. Okay. Now, we did hear the police chief there say that this person, Robert, goes by two names, and one of those other names is Roberta, and that has become one of the journalistic sanitizations here. And I don't know if the police chief even intended for it to be sanitizing in that way, but that was the effect. The New York Times initially ran a subheading that said, referencing the Pawtucket police chief, that the shooter was went by two different names, and that one of the other names was Roberta. But even that is not accurate either. This guy did not go by two different names. He was formerly Robert. He has changed his name to Roberta. He was not currently going by the name Robert, as though some people call him Robert and some people call him Roberta, and he just goes back and forth. He was not two named in that regard. So this new euphemism of, he was Robert, nicknamed Roberta, like his friends called him Roberta. Also not true in the strictest sense, at least. This was not a two named, and even still, a two-named what?
A two-named gun person.
A two-named man and woman simultaneously? Anyway.
Yeah, two-named gun person. Like, we have to just stop letting people try to control language this way. Like, it's just a dude who went crazy. Like, that's all we're dealing with. Well, I love how she prefaced her statement is with the words, "What I can say." Like, what I'm allowed to say without it causing more problems for me than I feel like dealing with right now.
I assume that she means the facts that are currently established if I'm trying to go to bat for Tina here, that's what she's trying to say. But there's no doubt that it has the effect of exactly what you're saying. It implies what I'm allowed to say. Yeah. By the rules of political correctness.
That's exactly how it came across.
Yeah. And I don't think that's really untrue.
I feel like I have to make a statement that may matter for my posterity. I am in this exact situation. I'm also two named. My Mexican name being Roberto, my white name being Robert. And if I am ever murdered and on the news, no. I want to go by my white name. Okay, Robert, I earned it. I've been here long enough. Like none of this two named Roberto nonsense.
I guess I hadn't thought about that you are two named in that way. But see, speaking of, his friends call him, I don't know you as Roberto. You've never been Roberto to me, so I don't make that connection.
Yeah. Again, I earned my white name years ago. I'm going to use it, darn it.
Well, later in the show, we were talking, speaking of, your quote unquote white name, we're going to get back into a call that we had last week about the way that crime statistics perhaps are manipulated to inflate white crime statistics. And a lot of that has to do with Hispanic overlap, as in Hispanic criminals being categorized as white. But, if Robert ever commits a serious crime, whoever checks the boxes on the paperwork, they're going to have that same dilemma. Like, what does he count as?
What about this two named individual?
Yeah, you really straddle a lot of lines, man. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the media coverage, because I think there are reasons for encouragement and sort of the usual discouragement. And when I say encouragement, I always have to challenge myself on that, because what is actually you look at media coverage like this where they're doing everything they can to sanitize and wash away the truth, and then you get media coverage where there's just like a pronoun of truth, like you're saying, Skulldugger, like, whoa, they used the correct word once, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, journalism is back, everything is restored. Great. It's like, how much credit do I give for bare bones basic level accuracy? Anyway, the AP. So this is kind of a good roundup of some of the coverage here in the Federalist. The AP referred to Dorgan, the shooter, as just the shooter. Well, what pronouns are we going to use? Is it he? Is it she? How about just the shooter is the pronoun? Sort of gun person style, but we'll avoid the humiliation of using the term gun person. But they also went with the name Roberta Esposito. So they take the female name, but they've denied him the female pronouns because those seem silly. So he's the shooter, Roberta. And he's never actually labeled female. NBC's coverage didn't even identify Dorgan as the shooter until paragraph 7, saying sort of like a variation of the New York Times bit. He also went by the first name Roberta. Okay, the story was categorized under their tag and their category, guns in America. So of course it's a gun control issue. CNN also avoided identifying the shooter, or at least didn't do that right away. The headline was passive. Shooting at youth hockey game in Rhode Island leaves 2 dead, 3 injured, which I've seen them do this variant before, but it's kind of like truck plows through crowd, killing 5. The truck just committed the crime itself. The shooting committed itself, and it left 3 dead. Kind of similar idea going on here with CNN. Dorgan was identified in the 3rd paragraph. So the shooting committing an action itself somehow is the headline. Dorgan, the guy who actually did the shooting, is in the 3rd paragraph. Then again, he uses the name of. He went by the name of Roberta Esposito. So transgender, or just a guy who had a weird nickname? That's all. At CBS, the editor chose to use the grammatically incorrect plural they pronouns, which is even more ridiculous, since I don't think that's even accurate to what Roberta wanted. I'm pretty sure Roberta was not a they them. Roberta was not like non-binary, gender non-conforming. Roberta was like, look at this pair. I'm a woman for sure. I want she, her pronouns. So I don't think that's even respectful to Roberta, let alone the grammar of the English language. But in the context of all of these bizarre moves to avoid the truth, that's when I bring up some of the coverage that I thought was actually kind of good. You mentioned the Good Morning America coverage had glimpses of accuracy. I thought the same thing about NBC's Today Show coverage on Tuesday morning. It was actually pretty decent in this regard. Reporter Emily Aketa correctly identified Dorgan as a transgender guy and showed photos of his giant tranny tees and showed a tweet talking about how he's about to go berserk.
Overnight, authorities identifying the shooter as Robert Dorgan, who they say also went by Roberta Esposito. Social media posts showing Dorgan discussing getting gender reassignment surgery and recently responding to attacks on a transgender congresswoman, writing, quote, "Do not wonder why we go berserk."
Okay, so why did I record that clip on my phone boomer style? Because on YouTube, where I originally saw it, it was later privated. NBC made the video private, and the only place where I could get the video earlier today when I went to grab it to cut it for the show, it wasn't there anymore. It was made private. And the only place where I could get it was on their website, but it's one of those that was just very strictly copyright protected. Like you can't even screen record. It makes it black. You know how like Amazon Prime and Netflix and those people do that, so you can't even screen record. NBC, though, they appear to have stealth deleted or stealth privated that report on the guy being transgender, getting the surgery, and saying on X he was about to go berserk.
What are you doing?
I have not seen any explanation for why this video is gone now, and that's very curious. Anyway.
Well, it's really weird how much of the reporting has gone sort of around the issue of using the word transgender. Like this person identified as a transgender person. Mm-hmm. Like there was no mystery. He didn't go back through his social media history and delete all of the stuff from when he was a dude, or presenting as a dude, I should say. So I mean, he was. Oh,
he's still a dude. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Presenting as a dude, I should say. He was comfortable with everybody knowing that he was transgender. So I don't understand why I understand why they're not coming out and using the word transgenders, because they don't want to feed into the narrative that this is becoming a trend. Despite the fact that he even acknowledges it with that post. Like, yeah. You wonder why we go berserk. Like, yes. You're even acknowledging that this is a rising thing amongst transgender people. Like,
correct.
This transgender shooter just acknowledged it himself.
Don't make me join the statistics. I'm about to. Yeah. And then he did like the next day, too.
Right.
Oh, man. Robert, go ahead.
I was going to say, this is what I find kind of deceiving from what the chief of police there was saying, like, hey, this has nothing to do with the fact that the dude is trans. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but it's like, okay, let's assume the altercation had nothing to do with it. They got into a fight over who knows what. Somebody was late to an event. It doesn't matter. But I'm just going to say it. Normal people, when they have a conflict like that, they don't go to the hockey game the next day and shoot everyone up, Like it still matters that the guy had a severe mental illness. And so,
yeah,
although the fight could have been over whatever, it triggered an abnormal response. And that, that is based on the fact that the guy is transgender.
Yeah, well, it's like, even if it was just like you're saying, a family dispute over, I don't know, burning dinner the night previously or something, how many family disputes break out into public mass shootings in that way? Like that's not a normal way that husbands and wives fight in any usual context anyway. Right. So yeah, the sanitization does not make it more understandable in that regard. It brings up more questions. Anyway, the reason I'm kind of clicking around here and trying to open something up is because Tim grabbed the photo of the ex-wife here. And so this is what I was talking about. And by the way, thank you, Tim. As far as like the threat about the Asian street gang coming to get him, so these are the two he killed. That's his son Aiden and his ex-wife Rhonda. But maybe Rhonda's part Asian? I don't know. It's hard to tell, but she doesn't look very Asian to me. I don't know. For some reason connected to Asian street gangs, but the mystery persists.
I mean, other than Caucasian.
See, I guess that counts, right? Okay.
Man, I cannot believe that a father killed his son like that. Like that is, it's unfathomable.
If you watch the video, I mean, it is like, he walks up behind him and it's gun pointed to the ground, like shooting from above their heads like that. And it's straight execution style, you know? It is, it's hard to imagine what could possibly possess a man's mind to get him to kill his ex-wife and his son in that way until you realize, like, these are the sort of people who think that this sort of presentation is sensible, attractive, true in any regard. If riding your bike, if letting these bounce in the wind as you're riding your awesome bike is a sensible thing to you, then maybe that's how this, killing your son in that way becomes sensible. But yeah, it is hard to imagine what sort of mindset, how you even get into that mindset. But I want to emphasize his tweets. You were mentioning him, Skulldugger. So yeah, he has this still totally active, or at least up until the point of the shooting, totally active X account that remains up. And as of Sunday, he was still tweeting about this stuff. So Kevin Sorbo, the actor, tweeted a picture of Congressman Sarah McBride saying he is, in fact, a congressman.
Well, she's a guy, so.
And Robert Dorgan responded exactly the way you mentioned. Stop, paraphrase, stop bashing us, stop bullying us. You wonder why we go berserk. And then did you see that Alex Jones was a part of this too? Now, he didn't respond to Roberta, but Alex Jones responded to Kevin Sorbo, that's creepy, or so creepy, referring to the congressman. And Roberta responds, shut the fuck up, Alex. Don't be so butthurt over somebody different. Then you wonder why trans people go fucking berserk. So this guy is like replying to all these things, repeating the berserk line. Like, keep making fun of me, I'm about to go berserk. It wasn't even a one-off. This guy's engaging in the way you're talking about, Skulldugger. Like, hey, I'm like one little shove away from joining the statistic, and then he did. And some of the other tweets that are on, like, February 5th, I don't have the tweet he was responding to here, but it's from a Trump-associated account, Rapid Response 47, a pro-Trump account. I assume it was some sort of like transgender critical content. And he says, too late, I already trooned out. Okay. And then 10 days later, he really trooned out. This guy is a walking red flag all over X. And the strange thing about him, he actually appears to be politically right-wing. Like, he supported Trump, but doesn't like the anti-transgenderism in conservatism generally. As we'll get to, he actually maybe was kind of like a Nazi. He tweeted a lot of white power things as well. But a couple of tweets, you want to talk about tweets that age poorly. This guy has 2 Olympic level ones. There's probably more if you come through the whole X account. But Robert said in September 2024 that not all trans people are evil. Many of us are otherwise normal human beings living our lives, bothering no one.
I doubt it.
Now, do you think that one aged more poorly, or this one from a month prior in August of 2024? Quote, transgender my whole life. You couldn't pay me $1 million to punch a genetic female. I just wouldn't do it. He would.
I mean, he didn't,
That is true.
I didn't see him punch her. You're right.
Yeah.
Only shot her dead. And as far as I gather, did it for free. He was not paid $1 million by any sort of street gangs of any racial variety, I don't think.
Yeah. So you can't pay him to punch a woman, but he'll shoot one for free.
Correct. I believe that's how it worked out. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you have a thought, Robert?
Oh, no. I was just agreeing with that, the lunacy of this. But I mean, doesn't it make you feel like the moments when these people post this, like, hey, like trans people are totally normal, like it's a deliberate act. And maybe I shouldn't speak so broadly, that surely there are trans people out there who are in fact totally peaceful, hashtag not all or whatever I'm supposed to say. But it does feel like an act. Like he knew he was I guess what I'm saying is, if you don't think that you might actually like devolve into violence, I don't know that you would be putting on there like, hey, I am totally not violent. Hey guys, remember, I am not violent.
Yeah, I mean, you could interpret it as him denying the prevailing narrative about transgender violence, or I think more plausibly, in the way you're describing, you could interpret it as him denying his own inner thoughts publicly until those inner thoughts were realized, and they were realized very unfortunately for that family. Anyway, the trans community is not taking it very well. At least the trans Reddit community, which is probably its own subset, like the most deranged among them. But this is my favorite thing, is like the trans Reddit tinfoil that actually Robert Dorgan, he's not an authentic tranny who went and killed his ex-wife and his son. He is some sort of CIA and or Mossad psyop. So this is one post that was highlighted by Reddit Lies that's just hilarious, but paraphrased, Robert Dorgan, not authentic, had to be a CIA psyop, also a Mossad agent, and he's a Nazi, which I'll get to in a moment. Allegedly, he's trans. Allegedly, he had sex reassignment surgery, but it's all bullshit. Look at the timing, because it's an Epstein distraction. And the Epstein stuff is becoming a big problem, so they have to put out, deploy the trans shooter to go get his wife to create a distraction. And that my favorite part, this is just a man in a dress deployed to make us look bad. It's Netanyahu putting a wig on his pet foot soldier and calling it a trans woman. I agree that it's just a man putting on a dress. It's just like, now we're doing the policing on who's passing, who's legitimate, who counts. Say what you will about Robert Dorgan from a tranny perspective. Like I said, he put up much more effort than many, if not most, do, okay? For as much stubble as I can see on this man's face, I don't think his shirt is stuffed with balloons. I think he really did it. And that's more effort than some who aren't policed as aggressively on Reddit put up. I guarantee you that. But
well, I just find it entertaining for a trans person to call somebody else inauthentic.
Yeah, exactly.
With no sense of irony there. Like,
yeah. My favorite thing about any piece of tinfoil, and I've said it on the stream before, whenever you want to explain anything, you could invent the most ridiculous story ever conceived. Just draw premises from a hat, do an ad lib. And all you have to say is, yeah, but think of the timing. What else is going on in the world that's more important than this? And yet, distractions away from that have been created by this total bullshit story that was created essentially by random chance. The timing, if a theory's primary point of support or evidence is the timing, I'm not saying it's always irrelevant, because sometimes the timing and sequence of things is significant. It's not never. But the point is, the timing is an argument for literally any premise you could ever invent that you want to support. And they did it here. They checked the box with this argument.
Right. Otherwise things have to exist in a vacuum. But yeah, go ahead, Robert.
I was going to say, they're doing the like, that was not real communism line, because it's like any time that a trans person does something awful, it's like, that wasn't really a trans person. And it's like, okay, so you're just going to decide this after the fact. Like, if things go poorly, hey, that wasn't real transgender.
And it's the same when they say real communism has never been tried. Oh boy, has it though. And again, I'll refer to the motorcycle picture. Real transgenderism has absolutely been tried. This is as real as it gets. That is right. Peak. What's the meme? You may not like it, but this is what like apex transgenderism looks like, something like that. That's what this is. Now, as far as Dorgan being a Nazi, there is kind of some evidence to that effect.
Ooh, a Mossad Nazi?
A Mossad Nazi, yeah.
This is good.
And at least if you buy his tweets as authentic. So on the day before the shooting, Dorgan posted about a song. Really nice, but a chink made that song.
I hate Asians.
In fairness, he has reason to hate Asians because the Asian street gangs are trying to murder him on behalf of his ex-father-in-law. But it's not just that he hates Asians. He actually repeatedly references white power and white pride worldwide. And he also retweeted footage of people doing the Sig Heil Hitler salute.
So let me get this straight. This white power Nazi guy, when it came time to choose his new tranny last name, chose a Spanish one?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't.
There's so many confusing things about this story. Like, no two facts make sense.
He only tweeted two things: white power and I'm about to go berserk. Those are the only two things he ever replied to anybody, at least recently.
Yeah, this does sound like an FBI plant, actually. Now that I'm considering it further, yeah.
Well, if anybody was an FBI plant, this was a meme that was posted in the MC Club Discord server. Do you guys prefer the term Tranazi or True Nazi? Trans rights are white rights, though. Rainbow swastikas all around. Robert Dorgan, very bizarre political philosophy.
I mean, I know you guys probably didn't catch this detail, but in one of the pictures you showed, he had a Harley in the back, and in another one, he was at a Harley dealer, but then he was riding a BMW. That is the literal equivalent of going from male to female.
Really? It's that
Yes.
People are like one or the other. There's no crossover.
Absolutely. And they hate each other. I mean, it all checks out. This dude just had like no principles. He was a guy, then he was a girl. He was a Harley guy, then a BMW guy. No rules, none.
So let me get this straight. Are you saying that BMW riders are women?
Yes.
Okay.
No, Matt, you're gonna lose some audience members if I say that.
I don't pick bike fights very often. I don't know anything about them other than I don't want to ride them because they don't work for me. But we'll see. We'll see if anyone wants to defend BMW bike honor later in the show.
Bring it.
As a last thought on the shooter and Roberta, the only thing that is tinfoily to me or very odd is the fact that his X account is still there. It has not been scrubbed. You can go look at the whole thing. I don't know who has control of it, if anybody. Maybe it's just that the new X, usually it's like there's a mass shooter and like the second that first casing hits the ground when he's committing his shooting, it's already scrubbed. Like, you'll never find it. This guy's entire X presence remains. Is that odd, or is that just maybe a new norm in the Elon Musk X era? What do you think? Thinking.
It is divergent from a lot of the stuff that we've seen recently with a lot of these high profile individuals not having a social media presence.
I think it's absolute proof that he was a Nazi working for Israel or something.
Okay. Well, really think of the timing, though, because what are they trying to distract from by leaving his X profile up?
Mm-hmm.
I think we cracked the case.
I think we did.
Moving on. It was the leading story. I only have 12 minutes till the top of the hour, and I got two more things I want to talk about. So I'll try to move efficiently here. But it was the leading story on ABC 30. This is Fresno, their ABC TV station, their broadcast on Tuesday. Students at Redwood High School in Visalia, California. Am I saying that correctly? I'll go to Skulldugger on this one. You're the California guys. Visalia?
Visalia.
Visalia. Okay, Visalia, California. These students arranged themselves wearing T-shirts to spell out the word faggots. This event happened February 12th, Thursday. Maybe this caused Robert. Maybe he finally went berserk because he saw this T-shirt arrangement. But the class was wearing shirts that spelled out Class of 2026, always legit, as in everybody had a letter on their shirt to spell that out. But after that photo, some of the kids rearranged themselves to spell the word faggots. They substituted a 6 for a G to accomplish this feat. And finding the uncensored photo is a little bit different, or a little bit difficult. But also thanks to the MC Club Discord server, I was able to see the original uncensored depiction of how these kids arranged themselves. So here it is, Tuesday night's most important news in the Fresno region of California.
We begin tonight with an image of intolerance. A photo taken at a Visalia Unified High School has led to a firestorm of reaction on social media and across the valley. This picture, taken on campus yesterday, is being investigated by the district. It shows a group of Redwood High School students spelling out what the administrators call a hateful, homophobic slur.
The students, all seniors. Officials say the picture was taken Thursday during school hours after a class picture. In the senior photo, the shirt spelled out, quote, "Class of 2026, always legit." This before they rearranged the letters to say the derogatory word.
Doing that in front of a whole gym of 500 seniors.
Legend.
This
That's
senior,
what it
who
is.
didn't want to be identified, tells us the gym was filled with hundreds of students at the time and that those in the photo were leaders on campus.
They are widely known in school. They are supposed to be leading by example with the clubs that they run and represent.
The district quickly denounced the students' actions. The school released this message the same night, calling the behavior, quote, unacceptable. An investigation is now underway.
We want the whole community to know that this is not representative of our values or the values of any of our school campuses. We also want families to know that there will be consequences for this very serious behavior.
The impact of the image, far-reaching. The Source LGBT Plus Center says they've been inundated with calls since it was posted. They held a youth and community forum Friday in response.
Hate speech does have direct impacts on not only student performance, but students' feelings of isolation, increases in anxiety, depression, and suicidal ideations.
Shut up, faggot.
I think the much more important question is why is a gay center holding a forum for youth?
He touched young people.
So indoctrinate the kids into sexual degeneracy. That's just fine. The school will assist you with that. But you know, if you write the wrong word with a T-shirt arrangement, that's going to be a matter for leading the nightly news in Fresno on Tuesday. But the thing is, they talk about, we've got to worry about the mental health of these kids. It's very important. Is there evidence that grooming them into sexual degeneracy and gender degeneracy contributes to their mental health? Because I thought the data would suggest otherwise. So, you know, go to the gay youth club for mental health. I'm not sure that has a long history of scientific support behind it.
And they're going to destroy these kids' lives because allegedly somebody somewhere was offended because, you know, the consequences were, quote, far-reaching.
Yes.
But I have to say, this gives me so much hope in the future. Like, those kids are legends. I mean, that is like a senior prank. You know what I mean? Like, no one was hurt. There was not a single soul was harmed because of this. It was just funny. I'm glad kids are doing this.
Well, what I need is clarification. Is it's not just faggots; it's two faggots. And are the two girls behind them in on the joke? Like, are they the two faggots? Like, who are the two faggots? That's what I need to know.
It's also important to, like, this picture suggests that they didn't, like, in the middle of the assembly or while everybody was present, do this. You can clearly see they waited until afterwards to when it was just them, and they posed for this picture for themselves.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, you have to go out of your way to be offended by this.
Well, that other kid said, well, they did it in front of like 500 people, but you're right that this photo suggests the opposite. It suggests that people had left and it looks rather empty except for them. And by the way, even if you are deeply hurt and deeply impacted by the F slur, if this is the worst thing that happens at your school is in great shape. Congratulations on living in a very safe place. And that the worst thing that happened to you is you had to see a word once. And like Robert was saying, this is called senior pranking. And it happens, in fact, in much worse forms at every high school across the country. It happened when I was in high school. I'm sure it happened when you guys were in high school. And if you're offended by that, number one, stop being such a faggot. Number two, just recognize this for what it is, even if pranks go too far. And if you're the parent of one of these kids, you found out, little Billy joined the rest of the kids and spelled out the word faggot with his shirt. Yeah, maybe it's a matter for parental and or school discipline, and you have a discussion privately to resolve that matter. But the fact that base level innocent senior pranks are not confined within the walls of the school anymore, that it becomes a regional news story leading the news that a bad word was formed by students with letters on their t-shirts. And this was covered in the New York Post. I mean, I'm not saying it was like front page of the New York Times, but yeah, kids being kids. And I know to people who want to clutch their pearls and pretend like it's something otherwise. No, this sort of thing has been going on as long as there have been high school kids. The fact that this stuff has become a nightly news broadcast leading story is, you want to talk about what's damaging to kids? That is actually damaging to kids, where they are going to be targeted, where they are going to be treated as villains because they spelled the wrong word with their shirts. The school won't tell us what's going to happen to them. And you wouldn't expect them to, because matters of school discipline aren't necessarily public for exactly that reason. But the school is saying that they could be suspended or even expelled. So I don't know what's going to happen, but it's possible that they don't graduate with their friends. It's possible that they are severely punished. And this ruins the rest of their senior year because they spelled the wrong word with their shirts. And this sort of stuff is taking that sort of like high school pranksmanship and putting it on the internet for scrutiny in this way. It's one of the worst uses of the modern internet for all the great things the modern internet offers. Ruining kids in this way is one of the unfortunate things that is a consequence as well. But again, it's presented by these people think they're saving kids. We have to ruin these kids to save other kids who might see a word and be hurt by it. Anyway,
I agree. I think this is a form of cruel and unusual punishment, and I mean that like any adult with any sense would be like, okay, they did a prank that was a little rude. Okay, you get detention on Saturday. Like you still have to like punish them in sort of like a silly way. Like, okay, you get detention, go clean a park or whatever. I don't care. And then everyone's life would move on because it was a very minor infraction. So you get a minor punishment. That's how the world is supposed to work. And there's no sense of justice when we do this punishment that may ruin these kids' lives for years to come.
Good.
And Visalia, California, it's a fairly conservative area. It's more rural, and I've been over there. I've done business over there, or whatever. And because of the culture there, I doubt these kids thought they were infringing as badly as the news makes it sound. You know what I mean? Like they're all, I would assume, I'm guessing here, I could be wrong, that they were probably fairly conservative kids. This word didn't seem that offensive to them. I don't think they meant to like destroy the world, kill the gays or whatever.
Well, I mean, nothing about anything that I've heard in this news story takes this out of the realm of protected free speech. And this is a public school. So, I mean, I'm already bothered by the fact that administrators are, while, in their duty as administrators, using the term hate speech. I don't think anybody who works for the state, while you are in your acting as an agent of the state, I don't think you should be using the term hate speech, because it doesn't exist. This is protected free speech. So the school has to be very careful with what they do in regards to.
I know there have been, I don't know how this would play out. That's an area of the First Amendment case law I don't know a lot about, but I know there have been cases like this where students are punished for speech that have been litigated before. I wonder if this would be a candidate. Robert, you might know something about that. I don't know. But
I actually know something about that.
Yeah.
It has to actually be disruptive. The court would have to find that the speech in question was disruptive to the function of school activity.
Okay. And that seems like that would be tough to show given what that photo looks like it shows. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, didn't you hear the effect was far-reaching? Probably like 5,000 gays died on the spot when they spelled that word. Like,
no, it was far-reaching because Roberta went berserk, and that they are the ones who caused it. That's what happened there.
Yeah, the school would actually have to show that there was some sort of damage caused by this activity. Otherwise, this is just speech.
Yeah. All right. We are right at the top of the hour, so I'll be quick, but I do have an update on my cursed PC that you may find entertaining or maybe boring or pointless. We'll see. But recall back in September, I purchased a new streaming PC proactively. My plan was to make sure I would not encounter tech problems for this stream. I bought a reasonably overpowered computer for what I need to do so that it would be stress-free. It would run stress-free. Instead, it's been a total disaster. It has crashed multiple times during the stream, so I took it back to Best Buy where I purchased it. I had their top nerds work on it. They told me they fixed it until it crashed again on the stream, so it clearly was not fixed. I took it back there a second time, and they said, I don't know, man, kind of a mystery. You probably have to go to the manufacturer to deal with this. And so I thought, well, can't rely on this computer. It does have a 1-year manufacturer's warranty, so I will ship it off to the warranty repair center in Texas. I did that on Thursday. And so I bubble wrapped it up securely. I went down to the FedEx place here. We made sure it was all packed up. And not likely to arrive damaged. Now, I did get insurance on the PC because it is a valuable PC and you don't want that thing destroyed. But I sent it off to Texas by FedEx, and it arrives yesterday, Tuesday, at the facility. I got an automated notification from the facility that it arrived at 9:43 a.m. Mountain Time. By 10:07, as in 24 minutes later, I got another notification, another email from the manufacturer. This is Acer, A-C-E-R. They make computers. The manufacturer emailed me denying the warranty claim, saying that the PC is damaged. And they would be happy to repair the PC's damage for the very reasonable price of $779. Let me pull up their email here. By the way, their email is broken English. Upon inspection, your device was noted as having damaged. Oh man, I think the Chinese street gang wrote this email, unfortunately. Okay, they $779 to repair this because it's damaged outside of warranty. What's wrong with it? Oh, what's wrong with it is the case has a very tiny dent in it from shipping. If you can't tell what you're looking at here, that's the bottom corner of the PC where like the little foot, the like rubber stopper is. We're looking at the bottom corner of the PC here. So because FedEx didn't do a perfect job, this PC got the equivalent of a door ding in the case during shipping, and they are telling me they will not even fire up the computer unless I pay them $800 to fix that. The value of a PC case is like $100 or something, you know. Skulldugger, I know you know PCs a little bit better. Yeah. Even if we wanted to replace the case, it's what, like $100 for the case, and a guy who knows what he's doing can put the parts in there in what, like an hour, probably less. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. If you're just swapping, really, you're just swapping essentially the motherboard over, especially if the new case is already powered with a power supply, then the worst case scenario, you're also swapping a power supply, which, it's like $100 for a case, and we'll call it 2 hours of labor just to make sure everything gets over there quickly.
$800 is getting close to the price of a new computer. You know, you can buy a lot of computers for that much money, but if you want, something with some performance power, be a little bit more, but $800. Okay, $800 for a door ding in the case. All right, so I call them up because I'm thinking there's got to be a misunderstanding. Like, did you think I sent it there because the case is dented? Even though I told them why I'm sending it there, and it was these GPU crashes that kept happening. So the one positive thing I'll say about the experience is I actually got an American woman on the phone in Texas. Okay, I didn't have to go through India. I didn't have to struggle to hear what the person was saying. The communication was actually very clear. But I asked her, like, okay, just so I understand, you're telling me that because there's a tiny dent in the case from the shipping, you will not even fire up the computer to attempt to see if it works unless I pay you $800 to iron out that tiny dent in the case. And she confirmed, yeah, that we won't even do unless you give us $800. We will not do that. So of course I ripped her for a few minutes.
You can fuck off.
And now they're going to send me back the computer, having done nothing to it and refusing to look at it because of, again, a door ding in the computer. This is like you just bought a new car and it flashes a check engine light. Oh, I better go back to the dealer. It's still under warranty. I'm sure they'll get it fixed up. No problem. You get it to the dealer and they say, I don't know. That passenger door, it's got a little ding in it. We're not going to take a look at that check engine light until you have a dent repair tech take out that door ding in your car. That's what they're doing here. And I don't know what my options are. Robert, maybe you and I could talk about it. Do I have like a warranty is a contract? From my perspective, they are breaching the contract by refusing to even evaluate the computer. They have not demonstrated at all that tiny dent is causing any functional problem with the computer. So to me, this is just a scam. This is a scam company. If you're in the market for a PC, avoid Acer entirely. Now, it seemed like a good package of computer components for the price, but I gather that this is why. They cheap out on some of the internals, and then when there are problems, they scam their way out of honoring their warranty, and maybe that's how they get their price point, what seems like a little bit lower. Now, I actually, given what looks like a scam to me, I wouldn't be surprised if they opened the package and they just took like a wrench or a baseball bat and whacked it and went, oh man, that'll be $800 to fix. So I just figured this was a funny story about how cursed this PC is.
Great story, compelling and rich.
And that's what I get for trying to address problems ahead of time, trying to be proactive, trying to stop problems before they happen. Instead, I just caused a bunch of problems. So the good news is I've filed a claim with FedEx. It is insured. Hopefully I'll get some sort of reimbursement for the damage, and maybe I can sell this PC or the components of it to people who are computer minded in the audience, and I can give you a deal on the computer parts. That is my hope. But the way this story is going, I fully expect for FedEx to deny the claim and say that it's not their fault for reasons X, Y, and Z, which really it's not their fault. But the thing that was crazy is, so I bitched out this woman on the, is that the term? Bitched at? I bitched at her. I yelled at her. I yelled at her on the phone, and I was like, admittedly kind of pissed off, like you'd think I would be. And then we ended the call. I'm like, just mail me the computer back and whatever. I'll figure it out. She calls me back like 5 minutes later because I told her, I Karen'd out. And I said, I need to talk to a manager. Well, we don't have one here. A manager will call you in 2 to 3 days. Great. All right. That's how the conversation ended. She calls me back 5 minutes later. I thought, oh yeah, all right. Maybe I browbeat myself. Maybe I browbeat them into giving me a deal here or something, or doing the right thing, honoring the warranty. No, she calls me and says, hey, by the way, was the FedEx package insured? Yeah, it was. Oh, well, you know that you could go talk to FedEx and file a claim. Oh, thank you. So, yes, I'm aware that I can go talk to FedEx and file a claim. This is still you denying your responsibility, avoiding your responsibility, not doing what your warranty policy says you will do. But thank you for pointing the finger at FedEx and directing me over there to go through another maze of call connections to try to talk to a person. Anyway, I've gone on long enough, but I just can't believe how cursed this computer is. And if you guys have any thoughts about the story, I welcome them.
Well, you'll have to forgive the language in that email that they sent to you, because the guy who was actually typing it up was in the middle of his other job, which was overnight truck driving.
I assume, yeah, or it was done by AI or something.
Yeah, the Indian guy who typed it up was also an overnight truck driver.
Okay, that starts to make sense.
With a license from California.
But Skulldugger, I know you're like a PC guy. Obviously, you don't have the computer, and we can't know for sure, like, okay, could it have sustained damage based on this? But this to me looks like the tiniest, least significant. Do you think there's any possibility the computer was actually damaged because it has this tiny dent in it?
Well, did it have that dent when you sent it?
No, It did not.
Okay, then it's not. Then that dent couldn't have caused the issue that you were sending it there for.
Correct. Yeah, I just wonder, like, could it have done additional damage?
It's possible, and I mean, not knowing the exactly, not seeing that in person to know the exact depth. I mean, if you strike a computer anywhere, if you jostle it, like you can damage parts on a motherboard just by shaking it up good enough. But it's to do like serious damage that a warranty wouldn't cover that's ridiculous.
The warranty is a scam.
Like the warranty should cover it. It should cover stuff like this.
Robert, I know you're a lawyerly minded person. Do you think I have a case, or am I just screwed?
Man, I mean, here's the thing. I am sure that the warranty contract has some kind of alternative dispute resolution method. Like you're not going to get to court, is what I'm saying.
Oh, dang now, I was going to ask if you'll represent me.
Now, did you buy this online?
No, I bought it at the store here in town at the Best Buy.
Have you tried just returning it to Best Buy?
They only have a 2-week return period, and I bought it in September, and it showed no problems until about November.
And you're not a Best Buy insider,
I am now.
Whatever the heck they call it.
I am now through the process of this. But you can't get the repair benefits or replacement benefits retroactively. So I wasn't at the time of the purchase.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I mean, no, this is the worst situation to be in, because I am sure that you have to do some kind of mediation or whatever that will certainly not go in your favor. It will take forever. I think, I mean, you have a big platform, just like, light these people on fire. Go on Twitter and be like, these people suck.
I think that bitch's name was Denise at Acer in Texas. Everybody call Acer in Texas and call her a stupid bitch.
You can fuck off.
Please do it for me.
Call her back.
Poor
and be
Denise.
like,
it's not even her fault.
You just need to tell a white lie. Be like, I am trans, and we do have a history of,
I'm going to go
violence.
berserk, Denise. All right, that's a plan. Thank you. This is why I need your conflict resolution skills, Robert. But we have to get into calls. I made callers wait 10 minutes, and I apologize for that. We're going to get right to you. But before we get into the calls, hey, have you considered joining the MC Club? Well, you should, and here's why. Hey, if you enjoy the show, please consider supporting the show by becoming a member of the MC Club. For as little as $1 a month, you will enjoy a series of exclusive perks, including ad-free videos and podcasts, video calls, and a community Discord server with me and other listeners, loot box giveaways with channel merchandise, your name in the credit roll after videos and streams, and much more. But most importantly, you will help keep the Duct Tape production alive and independent from all those sinister forces of control. Join the MC Club at mattchristiansenmedia.com/support. Linked in the description. Okay, back into the calls. You guys ready? Looks like you're all set in Discord, right? Did you guys remember to unmute yourselves?
Yes,
I know
sir.
I always forget. So Fwen is up first. Fwen, are you there?
Yeah. Hey there.
Fwen, can I credit you as I believe you're the guy who posted the Tran-Nazi, right? True Nazi? The meme in the Discord server. Was that not you? Was that someone else?
No, I posted the uncensored faggot
Oh,
shirt.
I got you mixed. You're the guy who found the uncensored faggot shirts. I wanted to make sure you get credit for that. Thank you. Big service to the show.
Yeah, the best part about that whole thing was that these are the kids that were chosen, or whether they were elected or on some class executives or whatever, to spell out their slogan for class of 2026, always legit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the best of the best at that school are the ones that decided to.
Oh, is that true?
spell
They
out
were
faggots.
selected for merit to be a shirt bearer. That's what you're saying?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know
they
how they
were-
were selected, but usually they don't just pick random kids like that. And if they would have just picked random kids, there's no way there would have been that many white kids.
That's
they were
true.
They were the class executives, so they were. The
All
ones
right.
that were-
One other thing before the
Oh,
actual
okay.
topic I want to talk about, which is quick.
Yeah.
The tranny shooter, white power type, but then picks the name Roberta. This is just another confirmation of the prevalency of Hispanic white supremacists.
I get. When you say just another, who are the others? Refresh my memory.
I mean, the first one that comes to mind is the Allen, Texas shooting, that mall shooting.
Oh yeah.
Where that
Okay.
guy had like the right wing death squad patch, and so some of this is like, I mean, for him personally, it might be, you know, the biker culture kind of also brushes up with some of this white power stuff. But yeah, as the Hispanic name, realistically, I imagine he chose it because he has some kind of fetish for Hispanic women, and he seems more like a autogynephilia type of tranny.
Maybe. I'm getting a little bit of echo off one of you guys on Zoom. I don't know if you guys have, either of you have volume up super loud. It's not terrible, but I don't know if you.
Looks like Skulldugger in the Discord.
Oh. You know what? Did I?
Weird. No, it might have been my mic.
No,
I
you know
turned-
what? I told you guys to mute each other. I think I forgot to mute you. That's what happened.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
It's always a tech challenge around here. Thank you, Fwen, for your guidance in that regard too.
Yeah. And then the last thing, I don't want to take too much time, is just, you know, it's Ash Wednesday, so it's the beginning of the Lenten season. This is a penitential season, and, you know, I think it's a really a great thing to take on. You know, the typical thing is like giving something up. If anything, I think fasting on Fridays is good. Fasting on Fridays, denying the flesh, specifically in anticipation of Good Friday with the crucifixion of Christ. If you don't struggle with like any kind of habituation to sin, rather than giving something up that you may otherwise, you know, have a vice that you participate in, I think it'd be a good thing to take on something in particular. So whether that's like finding a 40-day novena to pray, or just finding, even setting aside, I'm going to pray 10 minutes a day. It's really, it's a good practice, and it makes the Lenten season like an actual season instead of just all of a sudden Easter's upon you. And it's really just this 3-day kind of thing, or just Easter Sunday.
Thank you, man. I appreciate your thoughts on that. And yeah, I had not thought of fasting Friday, and I don't have anything picked out to give up necessarily, though we do have another voicemail about the same theme coming up. So I guess I should put some thought to it. But interestingly, I was talking to a friend about dieting stuff. I have a friend and listener who has lost a lot of weight since Christmas, which is really cool. But he was talking to me about his dietary discipline. And the one thing I can't ever give up is like late night eating, because I end up working a lot late. So like 11 or midnight, and man is eating at like 10, 11. It's the best. Love doing it.
Ditto.
I really should give that up, not do that. So that would be a good candidate for me. I don't think, man, fasting the whole day though, it would be a good test for me. I think the thing is I record videos on Friday too, and fasting Friday is going to be hangry Friday. We'll see if I come off as enraged when I record some stuff. But I like the idea. It's something I might put some thought to.
Yeah, and it's not like it doesn't have to be no food at all. Typically, it would be like one kind of standard size meal, and then oftentimes people have 2 snacks that are like add up to about the equivalent of one meal. Yeah, so you know, you don't have to go without food all day, and then abstaining from meat would be the other thing.
Okay, well, thank you for the call, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for that. You guys have thoughts on giving something up for Lent?
Something went off on my computer. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I mean, I think that it can be really significant. I love Ash Wednesday. In fact, I skipped church tonight for this show. So, you know, I'm making the wrong choices in life.
Wow. I'm honored. But yeah, you did make the wrong choice.
No, and also the first time I ever preached in my life was for Ash Wednesday. So it kind of holds some personal significance for me. But no, I think that that's wonderful. All the suggestions the caller had were very good.
Skulldugger, any thoughts?
I've never really observed Lent. I've been Protestant my entire life, so there's not a whole lot of Protestant sects that get too far into.
Don't tell
Lent
Joshy.
traditions.
He'll be very upset to hear.
I know. Joshy's always upset about religious stuff because he picked a niche religion and
he's going to convert us all one day. He's
we'll see.
Or die trying, you know.
Maybe by force from the way he speaks. So who knows?
But actually, Orthodox do observe Lent, so he should be getting his own Lent stuff prepared.
Let's talk to Turles next. Turles, are you there?
Hello. How are you guys tonight?
We are well. How are you?
Doing well.
Oh, doing great. It's been a while. So, you guys feel like talking foreign policy for a bit?
Absolutely.
Yes, although I'm still getting a little bit of echo off you guys on Zoom. I don't know what that's coming from, but you guys are telling me you don't have your headphones on super high or anything?
No.
No. All right.
I've even been muting my mic just to make sure that it's not me.
Okay.
So
It's
I
not a
don't know.
huge deal. We'll deal with it through a couple calls here, and it won't be an issue anymore. But
Here,
all
I
right.
turned my mic down. Is this better?
Well, we don't want to turn your mic down, but so wherever it was before, put it back to where it was before.
It's just for Discord.
Oh, well, I have you muted in Discord. So
Oh, sure. That's right. I don't know that.
I don't. It's coming through Zoom. The echo's coming through Zoom. Anyway, we'll just deal with it. Turles, sorry to interrupt you, but go right ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you've kind of been hearing at least a little bit about how things are relative to Iran these days. And there's certainly a lot of talk. We've got one carrier group sort of in the area now, and another one on the way. And it looks more and more like we might be settling in for a serious incursion of some kind, although it's still not exactly clear what the details might be. So I thought I would. I know the knee-jerk response for most of the people in our camps is basically, no foreign interventions, no regime change wars,
Bingo.
and so on.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. But I thought I would try to offer at least a couple of points in counter to that.
Okay.
So, among other things, first and foremost, again, if I can just speak personally, when Trump essentially encouraged the protests in Iran that led to tens of that emboldened them to take to the streets in such numbers that it led to tens of thousands of killings by the regime against the citizens of Iran. That, to me anyway, just as a matter of honor, kind of makes me think, all right, you can't do that. You can't just play with people's lives like that and not do something. So it would have been a better argument against intervention before Trump did that. So that, like I said, personally, that's how I feel about it. In terms of the nation's interests, there are a number of things. Obviously, there's always oil. There's a lot of oil that goes through the Hormuz Strait and all of that, which was partially closed yesterday for some kind of military military training operation by the IRGC. So anyway, it's something we don't really want them controlling. We don't, for obviously many decades, they have been the world's foremost sponsor of terrorism. Another thing that I would say is a big problem. They funnel all kinds of money in directions that directly harm U.S. citizens, and I think they're a big cause of global destability in terms of what Islamists do. So anyway, I could go on, but that's kind of my quick and dirty case.
Okay. In the interest of just not having the echo, I'm going to let you go and we'll talk about it.
Okay,
but thank you for
quick,
calling in for
let me get my book in real quick.
Oh yeah, sure.
So check out Sword and Scimitar. That's a book that has a foreword from Victor Davis Hanson, and it's pretty good. It's about the whole 1400 years history of conflict between Christianity and Islam. So that's by Raymond Ibrahim.
All right. Thank you for the recommendation and the call, and we'll give it some discussion and appreciate your thoughts.
Yep. Talk to you later.
Okay. Do either of you guys have Iran opinions? I guess I have not followed the developments of additional military asset deployments and all that, so I'm not keen on what the recent changes may be. It's sort of a joke, but it actually is my default position of not a fan of meddling in other countries, certainly with the the aim of regime change based on the history of how it has generally not worked out great in recent years. But I'm open to the perspective otherwise. Where do you guys fall on that?
Skulldugger, you go first.
Well, I mean, it's definitely it definitely does appear that I don't know how much truth there is to it, but at least the government of Iran does seem to blame the United States for stoking a lot of the protests and everything that are going on there. And I think the military demonstrations that they are conducting currently in the Strait of Hormuz, as the White House envoy was arriving in Iran, they're firing missiles into they're doing a live missile test while at the same time that the envoy is entering into Iran for nuclear talks. I think that's a signal.
Okay.
Not a good one.
You buy the premise that we are maybe marching toward conflict here.
I think Iran is signaling that they are comfortable with a conflict with the United States.
Robert, you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't followed it very closely, so it does seem to me that a conflict seems likely. But I would just say, kind of more broadly, I'm not an isolationist. I do think that entering into some conflicts can be good, but to me, my main criteria is there has to be a clear win condition. It seems to me that the conflicts that have gone very poorly, if you had asked the leaders, what are you seeking to accomplish? They really couldn't give you a good answer. And so a good example of this would be like the intervention in Venezuela. It's like there was a clear goal. The goal is we just want to take this guy out. And
by the way, real quickly, that would be the counter to my position. I was critical of removing Maduro for the same reasons. It doesn't seem like it's had a lot of disastrous consequences for the United States yet. Maybe it will long term, but I have to acknowledge that whatever my fears were for that scenario, they have not materialized. So Iran is something different, certainly in terms of capability, but yeah,
certainly. And the goal could be, no, I'm not saying, I am definitely not saying this should be the goal with Iran, but like, even if the goal was like total destruction, at least, there's a clear goal. You go in, you know what you need to do, and then you're done. To me, that again, just not to repeat myself, but the worst problems are when we're just going into some country or some area and it's like, yeah, we're just kind of here. Well, no, like, what are you doing? Yeah. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, and I do agree with the philosophy of overwhelming force. That is to say, you don't go in halfway or try to be nice about it. You go in and you make sure the objective is accomplished swiftly and in a way that makes resistance all but impossible. So I agree with you that the worst if whatever we decide our objective is, and I hope that it is not a repeat of some of the things we've done in that region in recent decades. But if the determination is made that we're going to take some sort of we're going to make some sort of move in that region, you do not try to half-ass it or try to do it the nice way. It's just I don't think Trump would operate that way, but that would be the worst possible move is intervention, but weakly.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the Venezuela option is not really available for Iran because there's not a vice president in place that we can hand the country over to, like there was in Venezuela.
Yeah, that chick is really behaving. I thought she was just going to be a Maduro commie, but I guess she just does what she's told or something.
It's because she's too busy fighting a bunch of internal stuff right now.
I guess, yeah.
She's got her hands full with the other people that we would love to go in there and arrest. But that's not an option, Iran. And Iran, you can't just go in and in a couple of hours take out the Ayatollah and then everything's going to be all hunky-dory once they're gone. You have to completely strip down the entire regime and fabricate something from the ground up.
All right, let's talk to Kevin. Kevin's going to get last call tonight. Kevin, are you there?
Hey, Matt, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Robert, Skulldugger, how are you guys?
Doing well, thank you.
Very well.
I'm doing well as well. Okay, so last time I called in, right after I got done simping for IPAs.
Oh yeah, I remember now.
I'm drinking an IPA right now.
Thank you, Skulldugger.
Fuck off.
No, that's not what I'm here about. This fight has been fought. Anyway, so after that, I asked you a question. I give you an option actually, and it's fitting that Robert's here again as well, because I gave you the option of theological versus literary, and you chose theological. So now I'm going to present you with the literary.
It sounds like you're kind of fading away from the mic from me. Can you get a little closer on that thing?
That's weird because it's attached to my head.
Oh yeah, I was losing you. It sounded like you were walking away from me.
Sometimes it defaults to like my webcam.
Okay, no, you're good. It's just like it's like just disappearing on me.
I'll just lean in. Okay, so the question is this, and this is a simple yes or no, but I'd like you to expound upon it. Have you yet gotten around to reading any of the works by Ayn Rand?
No, I have not, and I should, because it seems like it would align well with my philosophy of the world generally. And I don't really have a good excuse other than, dude, recreational reading time is effectively zero in my life right now. It's just not a thing that exists. But I'm certainly open to it. So I don't have a, please accept I have young kids at home and reading is impossible excuse. That's the best I can do for it.
No, understood. I'm fortunate that I got all of my Rand reading done before my kids came along. I'm a father myself of 5. So I totally
congrats.
get it. Thank you. And I kind of figured as much because Rand is a commitment, especially you're talking like Atlas Shrugged to the Fountainhead. You're talking like, I don't know, 900, 1,200 pages, something like that. But if I can, since I predicted you hadn't started yet, what I would suggest is try reading the short story Anthem by Ayn Rand, which is not a short story, but it's a short story by her.
Okay, so it's only 200 pages.
Yeah, well, so here's the deal: you can find it for free on YouTube right now, like audiobook version.
Okay, listening is easier because I can put that on in a drive or something, you know.
Yeah, and you could. I think it's probably like a 5 to 6 hour listen, and I think it's a good one to start with because it kind of encapsulates, on a short form version, her whole thing, you know, with objectivism and rational self interest and blah blah blah. And I don't agree with everything she says because I think a lot of it is wildly anti-Christian. But it's at the very least, it's very interesting, and she makes you think about some stuff like whether or not it really is immoral to be self-interested and selfish. The argument of objectivism actually could be for the greater good.
Either of you guys have Ayn Rand thoughts? I have to punt on the philosophy of it because I don't know it. But you guys, Ayn Rand people?
I'm ashamed to say I have not read her works.
Robert's read everything. I'm shocked to hear.
It's been on my radar for a while.
She was vehemently atheistic and anti-Christian. So,
Skulldugger, no.
I read a little bit of Atlas Shrugged. I couldn't get through it though.
Yeah, no, I confess I cheated a little bit. All of my reading has been on audio books, which makes it infinitely easier.
That probably makes Atlas Shrugged a little bit easier because it's a bit of a
like a full 24-hour day you're dedicated to listening to someone rattle on about the producers versus the looters and the moochers.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the recommendation, Kevin. Go enjoy an IPA or pretend to enjoy one, and have a great night. All right.
No pretense needed.
Thanks for calling.
Good night, guys. Thank you.
Good night.
Okay, that will do it on our live callers for the evening. Appreciate our call. Oh, wait, no, you know what? You know who wanted to call was producer Tim. And I was worried we'd be a little bit tight on time, and we are. But producer Tim so rarely calls in, and he said he had some thoughts he wanted to offer. So,
yes.
Tim, if you want to do a call, I'm going to hold you strictly to that 2-minute timer. Are you ready? Tim?
Hello.
Yeah, are you there?
Hello.
I am.
Oh, okay.
I assumed you would just run late, and so you're probably going to have to skip me. But
we definitely don't have a ton of time, which is why I'm gonna hold you to that 2-minute timer tightly. But you said you had something you wanted to bring up, so the floor is yours.
Yeah, well, that's good because I'm probably just going to rant. To all the journalists out there, you do not have any fucking immunity from legal actions because you're a journalist. That is nonsense. It's bullshit. Stop talking like that. Don Lemon broke the FACE Act. I don't know if he really broke the KKK law. I don't know. I would have to look into it, but it sounds like he probably did realistically. But you're not immune. there's a reason why you have a legal department in your journalism, in like media outlets. There's a reason why, theoretically, I would hope that you learn media law. I had to do a 13-week class on that to make sure that we knew how to stay within the bounds of the law and the areas where we might want to do investigation. But it's like, okay, well, but that's not going to be legal, so you need to do it this way rather than that way. You're just like every other citizen. If you break the law, you should be subject to prosecution or whatever the process happens to be for whatever you've broken. It's kind of, it's pissing me off. And the media itself knows that Don Lemon broke the law because they're leaving out the law for FACE Act is by force or threat, or threat of force, or by physical obstruction, intentionally injures, intimidates or interferes with, or attempts to injure, intimidate, or interfere with a house of worship. They keep leaving out the interfere because he absolutely interfered, and they're obviously trying to run cover for him and only ever mention injuring or intimidating. It's bugging.
I don't know about Don Lemon himself, but the party certainly intimidated people. Largely woke farmer. Yeah.
Well, but again, that's why they're only going injures or intimidate.
Yeah.
The fact that he was interviewing the guy that was trying to run a service means he interfered with the service. So,
The guy was asking him to leave. Would you please leave?
Yeah.
And he did not leave.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just had to rant about that because having done journalism, I hear the bell. Having done journalism, having to take an entire class on this is how you stay on the right side of the law. These are the things that you got to be wary of. What's the word I'm looking for? Defaming was a big one, for example. If you're going to cover someone, you got to make sure you're actually absolutely airtight with your facts, have all the information, because you can be sued for defaming someone if you give them a bad name and it turns out there's no basis to what you've reported. So,
journalist is not a defense in court. Thank you, Tim.
But Tim, have you considered this journalist, however, is gay and black, and I'm pretty sure then the law does not apply.
That's true.
I did go to law school. I would know.
He did, yeah.
That's not a defense either. I mean, maybe you could claim hate crime, but if you're the one that initiated the thing, you can't do that. Sorry, I know I'm rambling.
All right, thank you, Tim.
No worries.
Appreciate your help as always.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay. We are going to get into some voicemails, emails, but first we got super chatters. I don't want to leave them hanging, so let's take a few super chats before we get into those other messages. Purpose of the Ages, we'll start on YouTube here. I grew up in SoCal through 04. We said faggot all the time, although he has to type it out on YouTube like those kids with the shirts. He has to use 6s instead. It wasn't until I was stationed in Oklahoma, I think, stationed in OK, I think he means Oklahoma, I realized that other states thought Californians were all snowflakes. It all started under the Obama era, and California never redeemed themselves. That word was very freely deployed, not only when I was in high school, but every time I fired up the Xbox up until the year of about 2014 when they started cracking down on online chat. So anybody who acts like they have not heard that word, the word faggot is kind of like the N-word, in that it is deployed among friends. You know what I mean? Like, what's up, faggot? You don't mean that I hate. I'm just greeting my friend. That's all.
I have rarely ever called somebody I don't like a faggot. I've almost exclusively used it. To refer to the people I like. The more I like you, the more likely I'm going to call you a faggot.
It is a term of endearment. Injured Guardian. Oh, good. Robert can explain about Rhonda now. What does Robert have to explain Rhonda? I can't remember. Rhonda's the ex-wife of Roberta. Wait, is he talking about? Wait, now I'm confused. Is it you, Robert, or the tranny shooter, Robert? That's where I'm lost.
Man, what a confusion to have, either me or the tranny. But I'm assuming it was about the name. I don't know.
Yeah. Sorry, Injured Guardian. I missed that one. But I appreciate your support for the show. Joshy Boy, Matt, I don't have to ask myself what I would do if I was in that sort of situation at a hockey game. I'm not Canadian.
Okay.
It might be at let's say that it was at a monarchy convention though, Joshy boy, or I don't know, some sort of Orthodox church gathering, or whatever farming thing you're headed off to, or maybe it was a whole collection of not gay brothers with really cool dreads, or a whole convention of those guys. Wherever you might be, the Noah Kaniga fan club meeting, he comes in and tries to get you there. My point is, Joshy boy, you have a lot of potentially dangerous situations you might have to account for. So work on your bear hug skills. He also says, for half Asian confirmation of that woman, use the bat signal to summon our Cape Crusader. That's true. We'll just bring every show character into this, because Batman could probably evaluate whether Rhonda is half Asian or not, as the expert himself. Joshy also says Roberta was auditioning for the upcoming show Trans of Anarchy with that motorcycle. It's Roberta. Roberto is this Robert.
Yeah, I was like, I am doing this? What the heck?
Roberta is the tranny. Trans of Anarchy with that motorcycle. But it ended up being the Tranny Ducks.
I am not kidding you. Okay. If they made this show, the tranny would be on a BMW. Like, I am not kidding. This is how the show would be produced.
I loved that show, Sons of Anarchy. Great show. I'm not a motorcycle guy, but that was loved the show. Let's see. Long Dong John, the lesson we can all learn from this: if you're the parent of a daughter, get to know an Asian street gang. You never know when you'll need them. Yeah, that's true. Although the Asian street gang didn't do a very good job, apparently. If he did put out a hit on Roberta, they did not fulfill the hit.
Well, that's why he had to do it in a hockey rink. You're not going to find Asian people.
That's true. There are actual black guy hockey players. I've never seen an Asian hockey player.
Yeah.
That's a never. That's a unicorn. That's Bigfoot. Injured Guardian, As for the father-in-law's Asian street connections, maybe that's just an utterly brilliant tattoo artist. Maybe. I don't know. Roberta has a lot of tattoos, I saw. Thank you, Injured Guardian. Joshy also says to Skulldugger, many Nazis fled to Argentina after World War II, so if Rob Transdam is a legit Nazi, the surname makes sense. Maybe that's it. Maybe you have cracked the code.
Yep.
I often have to clarify that my family migrated to South America before even the first war. Just to be clear.
Yeah, it's their secret German heritage. Was he?
I mean, there is German heritage. That's why I have to specify.
Oh, you do? That's legit. Okay, so
yeah. I mean, German and British.
That's why you're so ambiguous. So you have like the authentic Northern European heritage, but still the Hispanic detour in Argentina. That's how Robert became Robert.
That's right. That detour through South America. Yep.
Now this theory makes sense. Now Robert is an actual Hispanic Nazi. Now I'm starting to connect the dots. Injured Guardian Vent. Neil censors. Rumble won't deliver my paid for rants. Tippy and Odyssey reject my money because too few subscribers. I need a better method. They all have a little bit of a flaw for sure, and I wish I had like a very simple fix for that, and I don't necessarily. Maybe it's something I could think about developing. I don't know.
Why can't you get through Rumble? I've never had a problem with Rumble.
Sometimes they don't. My problem with Rumble is just that they don't aggregate easily. So I have a third-party plugin that does that, and it doesn't always capture everything. So it's decent, but it's not perfect. I will say, Injured Guardian, if I miss your chats, I would say that Rumble's probably the best, but if I miss your chats because of that, I'm always happy to refund them. And anybody whose chat is missed, you can email me and I'll do that. I'm going to leave YouTube and Tippy there. Actually, I'm going to get Long Don John on Tippy. Unfortunately, this shit happens, Robert. Not far from me, several years ago, a dad went to his son's cricket game and beat his son to death with a bat in front of everyone before committing suicide by cop.
Jeez.
Okay, so I guess family disputes, like Tina was saying, are more common than I've never heard of that. Beat with a bat and then suicide by cop? Holy cow.
That's awful.
Man. We'll get a few on Rumble here. Purpose of the Ages is over there. The gay wars are not a phenomenon. It started in the garden. The battle has always been about authority, order, and who defies reality. God or man, the costumes change, but the rebellion is ancient. Well, thank you for supporting the show.
I am not going to be niggardly.
And also going on in the Discord server, the MC Club Discord server, there was some talk about the gay war and all this as well. And the gay war has kind of been like a joke based on a nugget of truth in the history of this stream and this channel. But the more real it gets like this, where the transgender violence continues to escalate, the more real the concept seems. But I think Purpose of the Ages is exactly right, that when you talk about defying fundamental truths like men are men and women are women, when you think instead of God's design in that way, you are the author of the design, and maybe you were designed wrongly, so you're just going to become something else. Once we start substituting ourselves for God in that way, bad stuff happens, and that's why the gay wars are a real thing, like you're talking about. It's sort of a joke line, but really we're taking fundamental principles about the world like gravity and saying, you know what, I don't really like gravity. I'm gonna live my life in defiance of gravity. You know what happens then? You fall off a cliff and you die. And the same is true about gender. If you just live in defiance of the truth about men and women, you may not die as abruptly as, say, falling off a cliff, but to the extent you're denying a natural law of the world, it's going to catch up to you. And it seems like it's catching up to a lot of people really quickly lately.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you and Blonde used to talk about that, like trans kids growing up and killing their parents.
Oh, yeah.
But it turns out they didn't kill their parents. They go and kill other random people.
Or
And
their
I'm
own
like,
kids in this case, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. If anyone deserves punishment, it's the doctors doing this stuff. I'm not saying they should go be attacked. I want to okay, YouTube, don't cancel us. But some people deserve punishment. But even then, it should be legally so.
You should call the Acer Repair Center in Texas and tell them to fuck off. And then you should call a doctor who does transgender reassignment surgeries and tell him to fuck off too. That's your civil duty for the day. Or civic duty. I am, whatever.
That second one I might do one day. That it makes me so mad what they do. They're monsters.
Yeah, well, it's more than just I don't like you. Again, it's violating a fundamental truth of the world. Yeah. Newbie of Death says value. Well, thank you for providing value. I appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the show. Purpose of the Ages. I've been predicting tranny Nazis for a while. It doesn't need to make sense. They're fucking insane. Similar to when Cat Williams said, no one knows why liars lie. No one knows why berserkers berserk. That's it. We're talking about these funny terms. You know, there's joggers. Mark Aaron brought up stabbers because that was a term that was used in a news story recently. Watch out for stabbers. Watch out for youths. But berserkers. Berserkers is a hilarious term. And that's going to mean the violent trans person going forward, berserker. Yeah. But berserker to me has such a video game context because in many different games you have berserkers that are exactly that. They're like big hulking creatures that attack you swiftly and violently. It's a big scary berserker. That's exactly
now they're
all
the berserkers in video games are going to have huge bolt-on titties.
Those are berserkers too. That's a big pair of berserkers.
You got to watch out for those two named berserkers.
Laughing Boy says, Matt, for fuck's sake, get a Meta PC next time. The quartering has a nice build. I don't even know Meta PCs, but I'll take your word for it. I do have a different PC that was purchased now that is covered by Best Buy's coverage program. So knock on wood, this thing's not going to have any problems, I hope. For whatever reason, OBS did crash on Sunday, but that wasn't the PC crashing. It was some kind of like OBS problem. So hopefully that was a one-time thing. But yeah, man, bad luck, bad decision, whatever. I'll never buy one of their products again, though. That lesson learned, and they insist that I learn it, so I will. Steve OUK, Atlas Shrugged, abridged audiobook read by Edward Herman. The best intro to Rand. Okay, I will keep that in mind. And thank you for supporting the show. Okay, we'll come back to chats at the end.
I'll have to just circle back with you.
We have to get into emails and voicemails. Before we do, a quick reminder that if you'd like to send an email or a voicemail for the show, the way to do that is the contact page on my website, mattchristiansenmedia.com/contact. There is a form to send an email. There is a phone number to send a voicemail. as well. So we'll take our voicemails first here, and the first one is from Be Humble. Let's see what he has to say. Yeah, okay. No, it's this. I do know what he has to say. It's about a losing and winning mentality on the left and the right.
Hey, Matt, it's Be Humble. Hey, I was just thinking about your conversations about how the right wing acts as if the left is going to wield the power they use against them, even though the left always wields whatever power they can against the right 24/7. And one element to it I was thinking about is how the right wing just has a loser's mentality versus the left wing that refuse to see losing as even an option. I think back to the past 3 elections, which are the only ones I've been eligible to vote for, and all 3 times Donald Trump should have won. However, each time the left acted as if it would be completely catastrophic for Trump to win. Trump winning any of the past 3 elections was considered by the left to be a non-option. They treated it as if that's not something that could even be comprehensible. And so the fact that the right acts like, well, when the left wins, we're already losing by starting off with the premise that the left will win again. We should be operating from the premise that we are going to wield this power and use it so that the left cannot get power again. It's not about making sure that they're going to act right when they have power. It's about making sure that they never have the power in the first place. And I think that that change of perspective is the only way that we win our country back.
All right. Thank you for the call. Be Humble. Interesting thought. And I'm going to do my best not to fence ride this, although I think there are important points to be made on both sides. So we'll see how well I do. I get your point that you don't want a loser's mentality, and you don't want to be defeated. You don't want to be blackpilled. You don't want to be discouraged. That's all very important. And you don't want to expect losing necessarily. However, you absolutely should think critically about how the rules you apply will apply to you and actually should apply to you, not because your opposition is your enemy and they might get you one day. It's because the rules are not your rules or their rules. They are the rules. They are God's morality itself. And if you live in either rejection of those things or you try to take control of those things, well, really the rules are what I say they are. And if I have power, then I am going to use it forcefully on my opposition. You don't want to do that, not because it puts you in a vulnerable position relative to your opposition, but because it puts you in disobedience with God, in disobedience with morality itself. So you shouldn't do that. However, not all power exercises are unjust or wrong. And I think that you're absolutely right to say that when the right or conservatives or Republicans or whoever, when they get just power and have the opportunity to exercise their power justly, they often balk. They are often cowardly about that. And I think there is room to exercise your mandate, your electoral mandate, which is constrained by the Constitution, by the law. You can push those boundaries and get done what you were elected to do. So my answer here is not, if you're in power, you punish your enemies, and it's as simple as that, which I know that your position, Be Humble, is probably not quite that simple either. I'm trying to warn against the full extent of that philosophy. What I'm saying is operate within the confines of the morality that exists above and before you. That's God's moral framework, and we try to reflect that through the law. Operate within that framework, but push those boundaries as much as you can. But you have to recognize that there are rules that exist for their own sake that you must obey because it's the right thing to do. That is the appropriate limitation on that. So did I do a good job of avoiding the fence riding, or did I totally fence ride that? What do you guys think?
I think you were pretty clear. I think you actually nailed it. I mean, I was thinking the same thing.
Thank you. You're not fired.
That's why I was kind of shaking my head while that voicemail was playing. That's a very dangerous mentality to have, is to try to wield power as though your opponent is never going to themselves have the reins of power back in their hands. In our system, it's a certainty that the left will have the reins of power back in their hand. And so it's about being like you were talking about. It's about sticking to your principles and being constrained by the authority of the Constitution. The more you step outside the bounds of the Constitution in order to try to eliminate your enemy, the more you've justified them doing the same thing once they take power against you. And then it just becomes an ever increasing power creep. And the people who really get destroyed by that are the American populace. It's we the people that lose out as the government continues to add powers.
The one Jordan Peterson quote that always sticks with me, and I know he's a very polarizing figure to many, but the paraphrase, the idea is being a man is having an absolute animal within you, something like that, but having it under control. And really, political power is exercised the same way. You need to be capable of wielding the sword.
Yeah.
But with the moral constraint and wisdom to understand the appropriate application of the sword. You must have both of those things. One without the other is insufficient. Robert, do you have some thoughts on this? Sorry, Skulldugger, if you had another one, go ahead.
I was just going to say the issue that we have on the right now is we keep putting people into power who refuse to wield power.
Yes, so which I think he's right about. I think
you just have,
yeah,
you just have to find the right people to vest the power into, who will use it in a principled, constrained manner. Instead, we have a bunch of feckless people on the right who just don't do anything.
Robert, you have any thoughts?
I have thoughts, but kind of on a different note, this idea of the loser mentality and the winner mentality. And I do think that the caller is spot on that. I think that the left has this sense of manifest destiny, which is kind of ironic. I'm sure they would despise that phrase. But the left earnestly believes that history is moving in their direction. You know, that one day we will all be able to marry whoever we want to, you know, cats and dogs, who knows, whatever, that we will be truly free and all this stuff. And so they actually win their victories in terms of decades. You know, like all of the gay nonsense started really in the 20s, and then in the 60s you get another push, and then it all actually materializes. The right, we have lost any sense of that, and so we don't continue to fight because we're actually convinced we're going to lose. And the one exception on the right was the anti-abortion movement, the pro-life movement. They always believed this is like a Holocaust, this is an atrocity, and we will win. And decades later, Roe v. Wade actually is overturned. And so we need, on the right, we need that mentality. We need the mentality of the pro-life movement where we go, history will move in our direction. We will win. And if it takes decades, so be it.
Yeah, I think if there's any point I take from Be Humble's call there, it is the prevalence of a negative black pill doomer, loser, whatever mentality you want. I absolutely grant that premise. And yeah, as with anything in life, your attitude generally manifests results. And it's not to say that a good attitude always makes you successful, but it sure helps. Sure helps when you believe that you will succeed. If you combine a good attitude, a winner's mentality with the sort of moral constraint, moral observance that we're talking about, that's the direction that I would like to see. The attitude of, okay, I would love it if I could snap my fingers and have everything I want tomorrow, given certain moral constraints and practical reality. I can't, but I am more than happy to accept minor win today with the hope and expectation that, yeah, in 20 years from now, we'll have whatever the next Roe v. Wade win is, or the next big thing that does significantly produce results for conservative values.
And just one short thing. I think that the attitude is key when the fight is multi-generational. Because multiple generations will not engage in the same fight unless they believe that in time, some generation down the road might succeed. And the left does believe that way. You know, there are people in the 20s and 30s and 40s that fought for all the gay nonsense because they believe someday in the future this would succeed. And it did. It did. Now we have trans people shooting kids at hockey games.
So their dream has been realized. Everything they fought for. Okay, thank you, Be Humble. Now, this is from XFD, and XFD is my guy who calls in and tells me about sometimes hilariously named athletes, which I always want to learn about. Lately, he's done hilariously named geographical sites. So he said I didn't have to play this if we didn't have time, but the truth is I always have time for hilariously named things, and he has an update from Canada.
Good evening, Matt. This is newly minted MC Club member XFD.
Nice.
Only play this call on the show if you had two or fewer other actual calls. This is
an
geography
actual call.
nonsense. Next time you talk to Mark Aaron, bully him mercilessly because there's a lake in Quebec in Canada called Lake Retard, but the French call it something stupid like Lac du Retard or something. Anyway, have a great show. Take care. Bye.
First of all, thank you for joining the MC Club. It is greatly appreciated. I did my Google mapping. He is correct. Lake Retard, as we Americans would call it, or Lake du Retard, as the French, I assume, call it.
The R word. This is shameful.
It is a lake way out in the middle of nowhere, Quebec, straight north of the St. Lawrence River, kind of straight north from really dead center Maine. I don't have it highlighted here, but it's kind of in that region. So yeah, Lake du Retard. I'll ask Mark if he's ever been out there. It's a whole bunch of spotty lakes in this region of Canada. So it is a real
I don't think
thing.
anybody's actually been out there. Do you see how far you had to scroll out to even
it's
find
like,
anything that was recognizable?
I don't see a road. Let me see if I can get it zoomed back. I don't even know where you go to find it again. I lost it forever, but it's like somewhere out in this region in the middle of the screen, and there's like maybe this highway 389 that's kind of close, but there's nothing out here really. So, all right. Maybe someday someone could do a trip to Fag Lake in northern Minnesota and then go up to Lake du Retard in Quebec.
Make sure you do it in a BMW.
Yes, that'd be a good choice of bike for such a trip. Okay, also have a call from a caller in Savannah, Georgia, who wanted to talk about the story that I posted a video about this morning. If people didn't see, there was an illegal immigrant who was being pursued by ICE and fled the traffic stop and did a U-turn and blew through a red light, crashed into a teacher in her car and killed her. And of course, that's ICE's fault. But this caller in the Savannah area has some more insight about that story.
Hey, Matt, longtime listener, recent supporter, and first-time caller. Just watched your video about the Savannah situation. I've been keeping an eye on that since I live in the area. The only thing that I have to add is that as far as I can tell, Chatham's no-face rule is just an excuse to not enforce certain laws on certain groups within the Savannah city limits themselves. Because Fort Wentworth and Poole are two other cities in the county absolutely will chase you, and it's laughable to even have that policy in the first place as a locality in the state of Georgia, when Georgia State Patrol will chase you to the ends of the earth and pit you going 70 miles an hour. Love what you do. Keep it up. Bye-bye.
Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for calling, and thanks for supporting the show. Really appreciate it. What he was talking about there, and I forgot to mention, so the people who blame ICE for pursuing this guy, and he fled and he hit a teacher and he killed her. In Chatham County, they apparently have a policy of no chase. So criminals just get to drive away fast and they will not chase them. And I kind of sense that was obviously bullshit, because maybe one force doesn't do it. But of course, you can't just commit crimes and flee in Georgia and they'll never catch up to you because they don't chase. It's one virtue signaling jurisdiction acting like they don't do this, but as a practical reality, they get bailed out by police forces of other jurisdictions, including the state police force. So it seemed like a gimmick, and I'm glad that you confirmed that it is. I'm sure I'll take your word for it that Georgia State Police, they don't mess around. If you get in a chase, they will pit maneuver you. They will spike strip you. Let's say that they did that. Let's say this guy fled out of town successfully and he's on the highway and Georgia State Police are trying to get him, and they pit maneuver him or they spike strip him and he dies in a crash. The outrage against ICE in that situation would be just as strong. Oh my God, they killed a guy because he ran away. In this case, though, this story was so crazy because this guy's he just T-bones a teacher or hit her very violently and she's dead. And the knee-jerk reaction for not just Democrats nationally, but people in this community who know this teacher, well, what was ICE doing chasing him? Why were they pursuing? And they talk about the loss to their community they think is caused by ICE and not by the guy who's been living in their town illegally, having a final order of removal since 2024 and driving around without a license. Like if this was a teenager driving around without a license, just one of those kids with the faggot shirts on, if that kid was unlicensed and fled police and killed a teacher, you would demand justice against that kid, rightly so. But because he's an illegal Guatemalan, we make excuses for him, even though people who need to be expelled from this country, he's right there at the top of the list. It's still ICE's fault, even though they're doing everything they can to remove such a person.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, like you said, if the criminal had been anyone other than an illegal, there would be outrage at the criminal, but so be it.
It's
so
weird,
I guess
man.
If I commit crimes, I will claim to be an illegal. I would like to be defended by the masses.
Don't worry, I'm Roberto from Guatemala.
Yes, I am two named.
I am two. Speaking of two named, you ever hear when people try to claim that transgenderism existed with the Indians, as in Native Americans, because they had this concept of two-spirit or some bullshit like that? That's kind of how two-named sounds to me. It's like two-spirited. Like you're, how I am chief whatever. I am two-named and two-spirited. Yeah. Anyway, you guys have any other thoughts on that? Otherwise, I have another one here on. It's another call on Lent. You guys want to get into that one?
Yeah.
This is from Kitchen Sink.
Hi, Matt. Calling in. Today is for the Catholics Ash Wednesday. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, today is the kickoff to when those who observe Lent give up something until Easter Sunday. So I've decided to give up politics because it has frankly become, since starting to follow in 2015, since then I really haven't had a break from it in all that time. And it's become just a toxic thing, always affecting my thoughts. So I'm going to give it up and instead focus on following Christ and, focusing on family and stuff. Just wondering, as someone who does this for a living, how do you unplug? Like, I know you're not on it all the time, but you have to be in, day out. Just wondering what you do to refocus. Thanks.
Well, thank you for the call, Kitchen Sink. Appreciate it as always. And I totally understand when people need to leave news and politics because it will drive you crazy. I get how that does drive people crazy. And so I think it's a wise move for your psychology and your direction toward what matters most. And I'm glad to hear you're going to take some time and focus on your faith and your commitment to Christ and all of that. So good for you. I don't take long breaks away from it for reasons both professional and just personal interest. I love politics. I love the news. It happens to be what I do for a living. But I would be a news consumer even if I was doing something totally different. So I don't take long breaks. The one time I did, I took all that time off in August and I wasn't making material. I was still doing work stuff in terms of, buying and installing new parts and pieces for all the stuff I do. So there was work involved, but I was still following the news very closely, not because I had to, but because I like to. I feel weird if I don't know what's going on in the world. So I still do voluntarily. And for me, the breaks are not like weeks long, months long in the way that maybe you're describing. They're more just like fitting good breaks into the day. So whether you're making YouTube videos and podcasts or whether you're doing whatever job you have that might be at a desk, I just don't think people were designed to sit at desks for like 8 hours a day. So I don't do that. If I'm making a video, there's a time to sit down and write it. There's a time to record it and there's a time to edit it. And those are different blocks of time. I don't sit and put myself in front of that screen looking at news and politics for like an 8-hour block or a 12-hour block or something like that. I fit other things in between, and that's staying active. I like to go to the gym. I like to do something outside, whatever. I like to spend time with my family and my boys, and just even if you fit a 15-minute break in there, that does a lot to maintain your state of mind. So that's really my approach, is just break up the day with good, intentional, I shouldn't call them distractions, because they're just as important. Like your family, your activities, those things are just as important. They're more important. That's the reason I do the work, is for my family. It's to maintain that household. So I just try not to let the day escape without at least having a little bit of time to enjoy the reason why I'm doing that work and paying attention to these people, to the news and everything that's going on in the world. So for me, it's just like the way the day is broken up, not the way the weeks or months are broken up. But good for you, man. I'm glad to hear you're getting away from it, and I understand why everybody has to do that from time to time. It is a discouraging. It's just kind of a discouraging time. I know we were talking about not being blackpilled just a moment ago, but man, is it hard to look at the news and find things to be encouraged about on a daily basis. I'm not saying they're not there. There are good things happening every day as well, but it's easy to get very discouraged looking at what's going on in the world and in our country. You guys have thoughts on getting away from politics?
It's tough because it's all around you. I mean, politics is just the interactions of people realistically. And I mean, you can do your best to unplug, but really at least where I am, it just follows you. And I mean, I take my dogs out for a walk, and
the dog park is gay.
Yeah, the dog park is gay. I mean, people just are just so politically in tuned that it's just everything becomes a conversation of politics eventually.
It is a weird thing how it is a personality, and I'm the opposite in that I'm not actually like I'm an introvert. Like I don't seek social interaction. I'm not the life of the party if I'm in a group of people. And if I do discuss with new people, like I meet somebody, the last thing I'm going to do in terms of meeting them or introducing myself is talk about politics, because I don't want to create a wedge right away. Yep. It's also what I do for a living. So it's like, I kind of want to get away from that, but it actually is not my personality. Like if you were to meet me for the first time, I'm not going to ask you, hey, have you ever thought about like the appropriate limitations of the federal government and how it ought to be constitutionally constrained? No, I have a wife and kids. They're very nice. Hey, our boys are about the same age. Let's be friends. It's going to be family oriented. And I know you're exaggerating, maybe, I don't know, you tell me. But I don't think it's much of an exaggeration that as family has deteriorated, politics has become like an organizing social point in that way.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Robert?
For me, one step I've taken that has really helped me is whenever I have like long stretches of time when I can listen to content, I've actually been listening to books instead of just endless YouTube. And don't get me wrong, I love YouTube. I consume a lot of content on YouTube. I mean, we kind of live in a golden age of learning. You can learn anything and it's phenomenal. But at least for like an hour a day, I listen to a book and it changes my whole frame of mind.
Yeah, that's it. Whenever people talk about reading, and I know that came up earlier, I need to maybe consider that, because like I said, I don't have time to sit down and read a book, but I do have time to listen passively to some things. Maybe usually I'll put on like some relaxing music or something. Maybe I could try book material. I guess I've just not tried that very often. Are you talking like fiction stuff? Are you talking stories, or what kind of content?
No, I'm very lame. I listen almost exclusively to academic stuff, academic work. And so here, over the last few months and years, I would say, I've really been interested in the intersection of government and religion. So like currently I'm listening to a law school textbook on church and state.
I'm laughing because we're talking about escaping politics. And here's Robert. I read thick books about government.
But it's different, you know, it's different because it's like very calming. It's like learning all this history from the 1700s on.
Okay, so it's historical at least. All right.
And can I say one more thing? I read a book that one of your audience members suggested, The Gospel According to Tolkien, because he suggested it. It was very good. So I just wanted to say that in case he's listening. That
might have been Turles. He usually does the book recommendations. It might have been.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. I couldn't remember exactly right. So great recommendation.
Well, there you go. I did get one additional text to the I got 2 texts. Now this actually I didn't know. I didn't see this part. Roberta also had a huge SS Nazi tattoo. I didn't see that there is an SS tattoo. I'm gonna have to review the that escaped me. Let me see if I can find evidence of this in some of the photography.
Man, this woman gets hotter by the second.
I don't know that I have that handy, but I'll take your word for it. If there is an SS tattoo, that's hilarious. This texter also says faggots in England are meatballs.
Bingo.
I'll take your word for it. I thought they were bundles of sticks or cigarettes in England. I don't know. A multi-definition word in England. They use it for a lot of purposes, I guess. Two definitioned, like Roberta is two named. Okay, got a couple emails here, and then we will call it a night. How did I miss the SS tattoo? I gotta find that later. That's
apparently it's on his arm.
Well, see if you can. Do you want to Google a second, see if you can find it? And if
oh my
you can,
gosh, I would love to. I would love nothing more than to Google a tranny's SS tattoo.
All right, you don't have to. I got a lot of stuff to manage right now, and I can't do that.
I'll see what I can find.
Tim might have sent it to me. I don't know. I think, or let's see. No, but it looks like Tim is texting me. Maybe Tim has it. We could get it that way. Minnesota root beer enjoyer in the email inbox. Do you think the Tumbler Ridge shooter has a tranifesto?
Hell yes.
This guy. This is the gun person in Tumbler Ridge in Canada, and this guy has, like Roberta, has a long history of Tumblr posts, including about anime, which we'll get to in a minute, and we got into last week. But there's a lot of written material. Do I think that there's? I have no way of saying there's for sure a document that says this is why I committed the shooting. I don't know, but I would gather that there's probably more written material than we are aware of, to the extent we know this person wrote a lot on Reddit about his experiences and trying to consult with others about, best practices for becoming a gun person and shooting up a school, or at least, transitioning in preparation for that. You guys think there's a tranifesto?
I sent you the picture and
is it where did you send it?
Signal.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can get it on. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that is the only way you would send a Nazi picture. It would be on Signal.
How can I get this onto my computer though? I think I can, because I can't just airdrop this. You guys want to talk about the? You guys talk amongst yourselves about
you can download it from Signal onto your computer.
But I don't have Signal installed on this computer. That's the problem.
Well then,
I think I can just email it to myself quickly and put it up there. If you guys want to talk about the Tumblr, do you guys think this guy had a tranifesto? Let's see how fast I can do this.
Man, I feel like we would already have it, right? I mean, unless the government is hiding it, I don't know.
It's the Canadian government too. They are.
I mean, this guy the Tumbler Ridge shooter was probably a Nazi working for the Jews, because the timing is suspicious.
Thank you. You're buying me time here. Keep going. I think I got this. Okay. Okay. Send myself. All right. Is that all you guys got? I thought I had more time than this.
Man.
I
was hoping the tattoo would be on the fake boobs, so we would have so many questions answered.
I'm sure those fake boobs are tatted up. Okay, I got it here. You guys ready for this? Well, John, Skulldugger, my mistake. Images were not inserted in the. Why? Okay. There we go. Okay. There's your SS skull tattoo. But the thing is, I'm not saying this is inaccurate or it's not him. We don't have the face to confirm it, though. Are we sure?
There were other pictures that had the face. It is definitely him.
It's authentic. All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Picked one that was just zoomed in on the tat.
Okay. Well, I don't know how I missed that. I have no good excuse, but I'm glad we saw it before the end of the show. Thank you to the texter for informing me about that.
Man, this is a complicated individual.
Also, I mean, there's multiple pictures. Like it's not even like it's not even like you can claim that this was one doctored image. Like there are a bunch of images where this tattoo is prominent.
Did he get the tats before he was transed? Because if you're the tattoo artist, I know you just kind of got to do what they tell you to do. But man, do I have questions if a guy with a giant rack comes in and wants a SS tattoo with a skull and crossbones in the middle of it. Anyway,
I bet it was tied to the motorcycle culture, and I'm not even being funny on that one.
That's probably exactly right.
And let me say one thing. I do want to set the record straight. I actually love BMW bikes. I hope to own one. Then you can call me hypocrite or whatever. So I've just been making fun, but great bikes. I would like one.
All right. Thank you, Root Beer Enjoyer. Yes, the Tranifesto is out there somewhere, I believe. TC, Matt, in regards to the anime thing, Walsh, as in Matt Walsh, his comment on anime being satanic was apparently just an offhand joke. That being said, leftists and trannies are not core anime fans. They're infiltrators who show up trying to make the characters gay, black, and trans, just like they've been doing with TV and video games. Also, the guy who was asking about crime stats is very likely... it's very likely a statistical manipulation or dishonesty. Bullets being shot at a school at 3 a.m. and a police officer in North Dakota in a police academy are counted as school shootings, and murder, suicides, and gang violence get counted in mass shootings as well. Now, I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't know, but the Matt Walsh tweet we talked about last week with the Tumbler Ridge gun person shooter. That shooter had made a Tumblr post years ago wanting advice on how to make his body more like anime characters because he likes anime. And Matt Walsh back then was saying, hate to say I told you so, keep your kids away from anime and certainly off of Reddit because they're going to become trans trying to make their bodies like anime characters. That resurfaced because that guy went on to become a school shooter, and Matt Walsh said, I once again hate to say I told you so. I didn't interpret that as sarcastic or joking at all. I'm pretty sure he does think that anime has negative influence on certainly young minds in this way, but maybe I misunderstood it. Do you guys have any clarity on that? Do you think he was it sarcastic? I took it as totally serious that Matt Walsh was saying that.
I take it as serious as well. I don't see, like, usually when he's sarcastic, he has a follow-up and takes.
Maybe he did. Maybe he said something in follow-up that I didn't see. I don't know.
I don't know. This appears to be presented as a straightforward take.
Yeah. Without being an anime guy myself, now, do I think that anime caused the shooting? I know the video game world, and I know we could just say yes. Yes, it did.
Just say yes.
And it's straight line anime to gun person school shooter. But I know the video game world, and I think there are a lot of parallels, at least I suspect there are. And the video game world can be a degenerate waste of time for people who lack a moral core and any purpose outside of that virtual reality as well. And what I would say about video games is I don't think they're inherently going to cause you to become a school shooter or something, or commit a terrible act. But if you already are a person who's morally confused, who's lacking purpose, who's lacking direction, you suddenly enter this virtual world, it can be very easy to get lost in that and have it have very negative consequences in your life. So that's my take on video games and by extension anime. Not inherently bad, but you got to have your moral fortitude squared away before you enter that arena. It's very easy to get lost in that arena and misguided. Do you guys have thoughts on anime or video games?
Man, do I? Actually, okay, so let me disclose something. I am actually an anime fan. I do.
Really?
Yes, it is.
Oh, no.
It is the only
You're
thing that
about to become Roberta then. All right.
Yeah. Any day now. Boobs are coming.
Yeah.
No, and Matt, you know this about me. I always kind of joke that I'm essentially Amish. Like, I don't watch I haven't had television in forever. I
Yeah.
don't have Netflix. I don't have Hulu. I don't watch any scripted shows. And I'm not saying that like I'm proud of it. I'm just saying like I'm not a guy that watches TV at all. The only exception really is anime. And I will say this. Anime fans, they get really like defensive about this. But if they're being honest, they're going to have to admit that there are a lot of shows that are very good, but there are a lot of shows that are extremely weird and wicked. And so it can, I'm not saying it always does, it can act like a gateway drug. You start watching like Dragon Ball Z, and next thing you know, you're watching unspeakable things.
Yeah. It's a gateway. Dragon Ball Z is a gateway to absolute degeneracy. I'll take your word for it.
I mean, I just say that because some anime guys are like, no, it's totally fine. This show is great, or that show is great. And it's like, I'm sure those two shows are great. But let's not lie to people. There's a lot of shows that are straight up degenerate, just in wicked.
The majority of anime is degenerate nonsense. It's like you really have to like try to pick through a lot of really disturbing stuff in order to find anything that's like somewhat
high class anime.
Yeah.
Artful
redemptive.
anime.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's artful, there's a lot of artful degenerate stuff. So
That's
I mean,
true.
it's just the concepts that a lot of anime deals with they're very countercultural, degenerate. Some of it's even anti-societal type stuff. So it wouldn't shock me that somebody who's, heavy into anime also has, proclivities towards acts of violence.
I know nothing about anime, so if you're typing your angry email to me, please refrain. I don't know anything about anime. I'm just trying to connect the dots from a video game perspective. That's all. And I definitely see some negative aspects in the video game community that I assume might translate, but I'm sure your particular anime show is nothing but high class, morally upstanding. I'm sure it's great. I probably won't watch it, but all right. Thank you, TC. Chief Justice is up next. Chief Justice asks, how do you think it's possible for a certain faction of people on the left to celebrate the killing of Charlie Kirk while also opposing the death penalty and describing it as barbaric? Is there any kind of logic that can be steel-manned here, or can their belief be more accurately summarized as, quote, I'm against the death penalty except for people I don't like? Well, the actual logic is exactly what you just said. I'm against the death penalty except for people I don't like. How is this possible that they hold these two things, assassination of Charlie Kirk acceptable or good, also death penalty bad, the same way that every other contradiction is held simultaneously? It's not principle, it's nothing but friend-enemy distinction and the pursuit of power. Charlie Kirk is my enemy, death penalty. Criminals are, I guess, your presumed friends, mercy. So your latter point is the correct one. But, and I was thinking about this, could I steal, like, can I try to make the best argument that the Charlie Kirk assassination was not an assassination, it was justified, but the death penalty itself is moral wrong? The best argument I can make is the one they make that some of them make at least, and is totally wrong, but I don't see a better argument. To take that position and try to have any logical consistency, you would have to say that Charlie Kirk's words are violence, that he was attacking people with his words. Therefore, the shooting intervention to stop him was something akin to taking out a mass shooter, because Charlie Kirk was mass wording. He was committing a mass wording, mass attacking people that day. And so this was not an assassination. This was an intervention to stop a quote-unquote shooting, a quote-unquote mass attack in progress, whereas the death penalty, I don't even know how that takes off the death penalty. I don't know how you argue this, but the only way you get there is to say that Charlie Kirk was committing some sort of crime for which a violent intervention would be justified. And to say that, you have to say he was committing some sort of violence, and that's how it was just to stop him. That's the best argument I got. You guys, can you make an argument for this perspective? I think it's impossible.
I think it's but what was she wearing principle?
Yeah.
Because It's really the Muslim argument about why women have to cover up, because if women go out to the street uncovered, like the men can't help themselves. And so you see when Charlie Kirk is saying these things, I'm sorry, like people can't help themselves but to shoot him. But if the guy has been arrested, then we no longer have this like crime of passion. Like the government can help itself. It can just put him in prison forever. And by the way, I don't believe any of that. I want to be super clear. But I really do think they kind of believe that. It's like, well, I mean, like, how can you help yourself? How can you just like not kill him?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. No restraint whatsoever. Skulldugger?
Yeah, I mean, there's no principled take where celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk holds any merit or water. So there's no point in even trying to engage in this, because it's a breakdown of principles. And once you're in that conversation, you have already lost. Like, you can't have a meaningful conversation with somebody with no principles.
They might shoot you for it, in fact, if you try to have a reasonable conversation with someone with no principles. Yeah, very unfortunate. All right, last one here. Former listener, YouTuber Aiden Paladin just dropped a very interesting video about dark empathy. The title is The Psychology of Moral Outrage, Sadistic Narcissism. Will you interview her? Will you bake bread? Are you running for mayor? Well, I am neither a baker nor a politician, but I will look at the video if you email it to me, and thank you for your recommendation. Appreciate our emailers. As a reminder, if you'd like to send an email or a voicemail to the show, you can do that through the contact page on my website, mattchristiansenmedia.com/contact. There's a form for emails. There's a number for voicemails. And that'll do it on listener contributions tonight. I appreciate all you guys. We're going to, I shouldn't say that'll do it on listener contributions of that form, but we have Super Chat to get to before we're out of here. So let's close with that and see what our Super Chatters have to say. Okay, where did I leave off? Okay. Tim had a couple here. Apparently the guy was a narcissistic tranny. I, for one, am shocked. According to Rhonda, or his ex-wife, yeah. The dude looked like he wasn't even trying to pass as a woman. Those T's beg to differ. Those were passing T. Those were... He did put the work in that regard. Roberta looked like one of those 80s hair metal musicians who never... who over time started looking, well, unfortunate. Yeah, but that was just his face. The rest was well kept. Especially his SS tattoo. Producer Tim, Family Guy is set in Rhode Island, and Seth MacFarlane's from there, and they pronounce it Pawtucket. Maybe that's where I got it. In Family Guy, do they say Pawtucket? I think so. Maybe, okay. Maybe I was misled that way, or maybe properly led. I don't know. A guy named Mike.
I wouldn't know.
A guy named Michael Black stopped the shooting, so I guess he's one of those. It's a rare time where a black was preventing the shooting. All right. Tim also says this whole situation where the kids. Oh, you know what? I forgot one thing. I forgot to add to that email question about the statistics. I forgot to get into that part. Last week we had a call about what is suspected statistical manipulation to say that the white population is more violent in the United States than it is in Europe because of guns, is the implied premise, or because of some other factor. The one thing we didn't talk about last week that I wanted to get into that the caller RB messaged me we hadn't considered is what we mentioned earlier, that in the U.S. there appears to be quite a lot of that Roberto. A lot of Roberto is being lumped in as white. And so you get that effect too, where there's a lot of Hispanic crime being categorized as white in the United States that maybe is not happening in Europe. And that might be another reason why you get a little bit different results as well. Forgot to return to that
I think
point.
by the second generation, Hispanics tend to identify as white.
Okay. So that's how, I guess, like, yeah, I don't know the process. I think it varies by jurisdiction too, in terms of how they're categorizing these people. So it's very messy. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Tim says the whole situation with the kids taking a photo with a gay slur or an anti-gay slur is absolutely disgusting and shameful to me. I will not have people besmirching the good name of kids just showing their appreciation for sticks being collected into bundles, or I guess meatballs in England, or cigarettes, or I don't know. Tortuga. Okay, that is quite the twist in the warranty saga and some bullshit. Tortuga had tried to help me with this cursed computer. I've heard some crazy reasons for denying a warranty, but that's a new one. Yeah, that's why I yelled at Denise on the phone. I didn't yell, but I was kind of mean to her.
Can I go back to the t-shirts just for 1 second?
Yeah.
There's a deep irony in that story that the only reason we are offended is because the kids are not at least visually gay. Because, okay, imagine, like for real.
Which one of these kids? That one looks pretty fruity.
No, but imagine the kids did look fruity. We would be like, they're like reclaiming the word like they did with queer. Nobody would be offended. In fact, this would be an act of bravery. But the only reason that it's offensive is because we're like, those kids don't look gay. This must be an insult.
That's true.
What if it comes out? They said they're investigating. What if it comes out that 2 of these kids are gay, and that's what the reference is?
That's our word.
There's 2 faggots here, and the rest of them are supporting their 2 gay friends.
Yeah, that's actually. I'm telling you, there is a reason why it's 2 faggots, and even though I do think this is something of a senior prank, like we're talking about, it does seem sort of out of place to do this like in a gym in this way. Like there's some contextual thing that we're missing that ties it together, like you're talking about Skulldugger. So I bet I don't know, maybe we'll never hear that side of the story.
We probably won't. Especially if it has a non-nefarious, like if it has a non-hateful connotation, we'll never hear the conclusion.
Joshy boy, and thank you, Tortuga. Matt, it's pronounced D-nice. Like Denise? I don't know. Is that the Candace Owens pronunciation of Denise is D-nice? You guys seen all those Candace Owens pronunciation videos going around?
I'm not going to throw stones.
They're dangerous stones to throw. Don't get me wrong. I don't want... It's not a fight I want to be involved in. I just enjoy the pronunciation videos. That's all. The pronunciation videos are funny.
I'm just saying, I live in a glass house. I ought to be wiser than that.
I saw the anecdote one today. It's not anecdote. It's anecdote. So it's D-nice as well.
Yeah. I mean, Matt,
I said epitome. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, you getting on this train is the epitome of irony.
I'm not saying I've never mispronounced a word, and I would hope that anybody who I can laugh at epitome, like, yeah, it's funny. I would not be enraged if people make epitome jokes about me all the time. However, there are a lot of epitome moments in this sequence. That's all I'm saying. So they're pretty funny.
Are you saying that 13% of the population mispronounces 80% of words?
Bingo.
Yeah. Exactly. Two dogs, Mike D. You should let the Best Buy manager know. They might be able to put some heat on Acer, since Best Buy is probably Acer's biggest distributor. Only old people shop there and they buy Acer computers. Probably. I feel like an idiot for buying it, but this is supposed to be, it's supposed to be a pre-built gaming PC. It's got pretty decent parts in it. Nobody's going to be, people who are serious about their gaming wouldn't be blown away, but something that's going to be rock solid for my stream. And of course it wasn't. So yeah, I feel like an idiot in that regard, but yeah, maybe when I get that box back, maybe I go down to Best Buy and just say, it's not really their fault. I'm not really mad at Best Buy, but they probably should know about this bullshit scam warranty. So maybe I will do that. Joshy boy, speaking of Lent, I'll be participating in Lent next week. Well, Godspeed. Thank you, Joshy. Dixon Cider. You got me on that. I know I've read that one before. It's spelled like Dixon, Dixon, cider, like the Apple product. Dixon cider. You got me, Dixon. Anyway,
that's disgusting.
I've also lost a PC to failed components recently. I'm putting a new one together, even though I knew about the RAM shortage going into it. Seeing the price hike still gave me sticker shock. Yeah, computers aren't cheap for sure, and that's why this is frustrating too. Is like it is a significant amount of money tied up into this computer, and I had to buy it twice because I have to do a show, and I do have the computer I've run the show on for 5 years, and it can do it, but it was starting to show maybe some potential problems. And then like as demonstrated, I also need a backup. So I kind of have to have 2 computers sitting around, because what happens if one goes haywire? So, because of this, I had to buy it twice. And so, yeah, it sucks. And hopefully I can recover some of the cost on the first one. Taker 610, and Ayn Rand so far away. Good one. Thank you, Taker. Injured Guardian, Rhoda, 5 letters. Robert can explain. What's Rhoda? RHODA?
Why is he assuming I can explain?
I don't know.
Rhoda. Wait, so tell me again. I'm going to try to get this. And if I'm being a total boomer, I'm sorry, but you said what was it?
Well, he made the joke earlier about Robert and Rhonda, but he says it's not Rhonda, it's Rhoda. Now, I think his joke depends on the premise of Rhoda. The ex-wife's name is Rhonda with an N. So there's some joke here about Rhoda that Robert will know, but Robert doesn't know.
Robert does not know.
Oh. Sorry we butchered it, Injured Guardian. I'm sure it's...
Yes, I feel so bad because I'm sure like he's getting at something funny that I'm just being too dumb to get. So yeah. I apologize. It's
that time of night. VV, from the little Ayn Rand I've read and Yaron Brooks, the philosophy I remember the most is the virtue of selfishness and how it relates to capitalism. It falls apart in the theological relationship with her virtue of selfishness. Now that would be interesting, because I suspect I would probably agree with Ayn Rand a lot from a philosophy of government perspective, but I would have to... I'd be interested to see where she falls on moral grounds. And if you're telling me that she's a dedicated atheist, from where does the moral framework come from? Maybe that's where we get into this rational self-interest and objectivism and all. I suspect, based on the way that you're making it sound, that I would have some disputes about the origin of morality, but that might be an interesting thing to read regardless. I'll have to see if I can dedicate some time to that. Thank you, VV. Canadian 33, if we focus on the shooter, then the victims get lost in the conversation. They should be the focus. Yeah, they should. Definitely, absolutely. And I assume, Canadian with a K. Obviously, we have the case in your country in Tumbler Ridge. We have the case of the family here in Rhode Island. And they absolutely are the victims. What I would say is I don't think it's necessarily either or. And I think that until we are honest about the nature of these attackers, we are not honoring those victims, because there is a reason that these people were killed horrifically. And it's because we continue to not just coddle this mental illness, but encourage it. We in fact, we groom kids into this ideology. We try to get them to change their gender and to convert to this lifestyle and all that. So I take your point that the people who were taken or injured by these killers are deserving of more time than the killers themselves are. However, I think that it's important to understand the reasons why these things are happening so that we can minimize the future occurrences of them. Because until we get real about what is going on here in terms of these gun people, these gun persons, it's going to keep happening, and we're just expected to keep explaining it away. In that regard, we have to focus on the shooters, but of course, I wouldn't say you don't focus on one and not the other. I just think there is an obligation to focus on the shooters as well for that reason.
Yeah, and I think that in all the stories that I've heard from both of these incidences in the last 8 days, the victims have been mentioned fairly extensively. Like, we know what the relationship is between the victims and the shooters in both instances. Yeah. And I think that is because we are acknowledging but it's like you said, like we have to get to the bottom of why this is a trend that is currently on the rise, and if there's anything that can be done to stem this, then that's something that we need to know about. So we need to know all that we can about who these shooters are and why this has been something that's cropping up in a relatively small community. A relatively small number of individuals are transgender, and this is a rising issue amongst that small community. And I've said it on the show before. I mean, one of the things that's really concerning about this is we're no longer treating gender dysphoria as a mental illness. And when you stop treating that as a mental illness, then you start to not see the other mental illness. Mental illnesses tend to sort of stack. It's very common to have more than one mental illness, or it's multi-symptom of a larger mental illness. So like the gender dysphoria is likely a part of a larger mental illness, but because we're not treating the gender dysphoria as a mental illness, we're missing whatever the larger mental illness is. And so because this is not being treated as a mental illness, although in both of these cases, it sounds like both of these individuals were being treated for other mental illnesses. So yeah. That theory is not really holding very well to these two particular instances. But in some of the other trans shooters, they weren't really receiving any mental health care, even though the people that were closest to them knew that they were struggling with mental illnesses.
Yeah.
And it's because it's like you said, it's because we're coddling the gender dysphoria. We no longer consider it to be a mental illness, even though it obviously is. It is one of the most easy to diagnose mental illnesses there are. A lot of mental illnesses hide themselves behind a lot of other deceptive behavior. But when somebody is actively demonstrating physically the way that transgenders do, like it's the easiest to diagnose out there.
And yet we make it difficult, but such are the times.
Yeah.
Let me just add very briefly that I resonate with what the chatter is saying. Like, you know, I know we're like making fun of this terrible situation, and that's just kind of the nature of talking about politics. But I just want to say, hey, like, totally get it. The victims, you know, we ought to care about the victims. We ought to be praying about the victims. You know, I have prayed for the victims in Canada. This shooting has been mostly new to me, so I haven't given it much like serious thought, the one we discussed tonight. So I just want to say that to the shooter, that I don't know.
To the chatter.
To the chatter, not to the shooter, to the chatter.
I thought you were becoming Tim Walz on me.
Yeah, friends with school shooters.
So Tim also did say that he posted the picture of the SS tattoo and and Roberta's face in Discord. So.
Oh yeah, I can see it, and people can look that up if they want to. So I consider that verified. Yeah.
And hey, one more very quick comment on this is I do think that sometimes the best response when someone does something evil is to mock them. Even it can be more powerful than condemning them. Like, think when you were growing up, if you did something bad, if someone had said, "Oh, that's bad," as opposed to, "Hey, that's pretty gay." The second one is much more effective. You're like, I don't care if it's bad or good, but I ain't doing that gay nonsense. You know? So it's important to mock these shooters.
I thought the worst thing a father could say is that he's disappointed in his son. Nobody wants to hear that. But if your dad tells you that what you did was pretty gay, that cuts even harder.
You'd never do it again.
All right. Tim says, appreciate you letting me have a call this week. Given Don Lemon was just arraigned, it was top of mind. One of the few times I wanted to call in as an audience member. Hate journalists acting like they're somehow legally above the peasants. Thank you for your help with the show, obviously, Tim. But it's another thing with the Nancy Guthrie thing going on. And I'm not, obviously, it's a kidnapping. It's terrible. I hope Nancy Guthrie is returned to her family and this all has a good resolution. The story leading the news every morning when I turn it on is another symptom of the protected journalist class to me, though. Like, people go missing all the time. They get kidnapped all the time. It's awful. It's always newsworthy. However, this 84-year-old woman for 2 weeks straight being the lead story in the country solely because she's the mother of a prominent news or journalism figure is another symptom to that. Like Don Lemon saying, well, I'm just a journalist and you can't get me because I'm on First Amendment grounds. I'm not accusing Savannah Guthrie and her family of like self-promotion or something. I think it's a symptom of a fixation of journalists on the story because it involves one of them and they consider themselves like high-class elite society or whatever. this story just continues to be focused on to a degree that nobody else would receive if it were any other person, any everyday person. So there's a lot of that going on too. Taker 610, Quebec can't compete with Peru's Lake Titicaca. I am familiar with that lake. Yeah. So that's true. That's maybe the most well-known one of them all. Esoterica Unbound. There's nothing satanic about Studio Ghibli, no matter what Matt C thinks. That movie sucked. My Neighbor Totoro or whatever it was. Terrible. I'm not saying it's satanic. I'm just saying it's a bad movie. That's all. Taker 610. ICE could be chasing a storm and they'd be blamed for all the casualties as a result of a storm. Yeah, if it was like a tornado or something, they'll be blamed for that for sure. Thank you, Taker. Joshy Boy says, D Nice is from that Key and Peele skit, dude. Well, it can also be a Candace Owens joke, okay? I don't even know is D Nice one of the football players? I assume. It's probably that bit where they have all those crazy names. All their names are like, Watermelon Kool-Aid Jones or something.
No, it's the teacher who mispronounces all the students' names, like Aaron and...
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one.
That's the one that leads to that famous meme where he swipes everything off a desk and says, God damn it!
I'm sorry I missed all the jokes tonight. Rhoda, D Nice, I have no idea. No joke. Okay, now we have clarification, Robert. You should know this because it was a biblical reference. No joke history, I meant Rhoda in Acts. You had deferred to Robert previously. Autocorrect hates both of us, and he knows that you must read quickly. So Rhoda in Acts, this is a reference to that?
And how is it spelled? Because I was thinking about the Spanish connection. So what? Tell me that one last time.
RHODA.
Okay, I'm gonna see. I'm sure that. I don't know. Let's see what I am not getting here. Yes. I mean, we covered this in our study, but she's a fairly minor character. She's the one who opens the gate for Peter after he's like miraculously released from prison. But I just don't see how that connect. It doesn't matter. I still didn't.
Somehow it connects to Roberta and Rhonda, but we're missing that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Thank you, Injured Guardian. Sorry for totally butchering the intent of your chat.
Yes.
Appreciate your support for the show. Tim says, regarding the stats, people also freak out and try to reject the argument of per capita. Raw numbers are irrelevant when whites are like 5 times the population of black people. The percentage within a group is a more accurate measure. Correct, although per capita is a concept that eludes many. But speaking of per capita, we need to get accurate per capita stats on gun person shootings, because those are very... That argument presents itself as a raw number too. Well, what are you talking about? There were like 500 mass shootings and like 2 were trannies. Right, but how many trannies are in the country? Like what percentage of trannies become mass shooters? It's a higher percentage than your average person. That you can't convince me otherwise. I guarantee you that's true. But I guess you can convince me otherwise. You could just show me the numbers, though, and they never actually show you the numbers. And there's a reason they don't show you those numbers. But anyway, that is all of the chats. We're all set on Rumble, all set on YouTube and Tippy. You guys have anything else you want to mention before we're out of here?
I just apologize to the chatter that we never really got his point. I feel so ashamed.
It wouldn't be the
he can
first
send me
time,
hate mail later. Just send me hate mail through the website.
Injured Guardian's a good sport. I know I've done that to him before, and I feel bad because sometimes it's just over my head and all of our heads, and I have no excuse. But all right, we'll call it there. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Thanks to our live chatters or super chatters for making the live show a success. If you're listening on demand later, thank you kindly as well for supporting the show. Thanks to our callers, our emailers for contributing to the show as well. Thanks to Robert and Skulldugger for sitting in. Thanks to producer Tim for his assistance as always. Find everything show-related at mattchristiansenmedia.com or mattis.k if you prefer brevity. I'm back on Sunday night. Hope to see you then.